What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Season Gaming Bitcast, episode 229. I am your host, Ainsley Bowden, and it is good to be back. Boys, how we doing?
Oh, we're good.
We're something.
We got a silent thumbs up and a laugh from Dan. So we've got the whole panel here ready to go today. A lot of people in chat already. Awesome to see you guys. I genuinely, we took off last week for the holiday, as everyone knows, and I genuinely miss chatting with you guys. Like, I really enjoy this time every week. It's fun. So I missed it, but we're back, and we've got a lot of games to talk through today, which should be a very good time. So, you know, the crew is always here. Going to start below me here, Mr. Tie Guy Travis with the black shirt and red tie today. Are you ready to get aggressive?
That's right. McClunky. How is everybody?
I don't think McClunky can ever be sold like aggressively. It just doesn't. Not that
But
type of
it
word.
means it's a threat. It means
Yeah.
this will be the end for you.
This is clearly either your Valentine's Day outfit or you're waiting on Valentine's Day outfit.
I've heard he's big on Valentine's Day too. So
Travis is big on all holidays, secular and religious.
Especially.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that hurt. No, Valentine's Day, you got to go pink bow tie, right? Pink vest.
pink
You gotta-
bow tie.
Oh yeah,
I need
for sure.
pictures.
You have a
I need
bow
pictures.
tie?
I have many bow ties.
Does
Hoeg.
bow tie qualify for the tie guy Travis moniker?
I would say so. Yeah,
Okay.
I stay away from it a little bit because it was Tom Marx's thing for a while. But
What about a bola?
I was just thinking a bolo tie as
Yeah,
well.
a bolo. Yeah.
I do not own a bolo tie, but
Why not?
that is a
send you
very
one.
specific look that I don't think I could pull off. Let's be honest.
You would be the hit of San Francisco with a bolo.
Cowboy hat,
mm,
bolo tie. I want to see it.
At least in
All
certain
right.
places.
We've got the tie in the channel membership emojis. I'm gonna create a special bow tie that we can use for certain occasions.
There we go.
Sure.
For
There
sure.
you go.
Yeah.
Amazing. And a bolo.
And a bolo. Yes.
Yeah.
Hoeg, good morning, sir. How we doing?
Oh, I'm okay. How are you doing, Ains? Is your team the back-to-back Big Ten champions?
Maybe. Do the
Can you
LA
identify
Kings
what
play?
teams are in the Big Ten?
Yeah, I don't know if the LA Kings are in the Big Ten. I don't think so.
To be clear, I think there's 16 teams in the Big Ten. So
That
so
makes
we're
sense.
clear.
That makes sense with the rest of college football.
Right.
so.
Well, higher education, very big on numbers.
But congrats on Michigan, my friend.
I did
they
nothing.
are still.
I observed, but it was awesome.
They are still. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. They are still undefeated, and they will be one of the top 4 teams in the country right now.
They are, yes. They are undefeated. They are 13-0 for the first time in their vaunted and storied and winningest history as a college football institution. And we're ready for the college football playoffs coming New Year's Eve.
Wow! Congrats, man. That's good times.
Oh,
I
I'm
didn't
pumped.
realize it was the first time ever for them.
Yeah, well, it's the first time
13-0.
it's 13-0. So they've been undefeated before, but college football season's only moved to 12 regular season games sometime in the 2000s, I think.
Wow! Cool, man. Cool. Well,
And that's it. That's it. I'm not, folks. Don't bail from this podcast, from this video. No more Michigan Wolverine talk from me.
Yeah. You heard it here.
I have
We'll see
other
what
Wolverines to talk about today. Ah!
happens. That's pretty
Nice.
good. That's pretty good.
Nice.
Mr. Rodriguez, good morning, sir. How's my favorite 7 doing? And he's on mute, so he's doing well. We're right out of the
That
gate.
is a 7 kind of thing, though.
That's
Yeah,
one of
it
those
is.
bugs. Oh my!
And now he left the podcast entirely.
He
so he's
accidentally leave.
he is doing fantastic this morning. We're
This is
back,
really more
guys.
of a
Did you miss us?
6.5 showing right now.
That's amazing.
He's got trouble compiling his shaders, which I hear is an issue this weekend.
He wouldn't even get a medal on the season gaming scale. He's out of the medal range at this point.
Honestly, that might be his best intro yet.
Yeah, I think Dan's off and running.
I loved it. I loved it.
Fine. What in the hell just happened? I think I went to unmute myself and I hit leave studio.
We understand
Honestly.
what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
we got it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm good. Hey, I was going to ask you guys real quick. I see the tie in
Yes.
chat, right?
Yes.
All right. It's black. I'm in dark mode. I can't see the tie.
I've realized that. So
Okay.
I had them recreated so that they were transparent PNGs because the blocks looked a little weird last week. But then, of course, realized that in dark mode, 3 of the 4 won't really show up well. So what I'm going to do is
Well,
I will
thankfully,
add.
Travis has a red tie. There you go.
Yeah, I'm gonna add because I've got the we've got the lawyer stuff in the 7 too, so I'll add back the white ones that way. If you're whether you're on dark mode or light mode, it works.
Nice.
So we're still a work in progress here with the channel memberships, but the
All right.
season gaming icons are up for all channel members, and those will evolve depending on how long your membership is. So had our good friend Diego work on those as always, which is cool.
Excellent.
All right, boys. Should a question from Mad Geek he posed last night, and we said we were done, Hoeg, but you can keep this real quick. It's a yes or no answer.
Sure.
Should Michigan be number 1?
Yes.
I don't know if that's a good answer or just
Georgia's
a biased
a fantastic
answer.
football team, but beating Ohio State by 22 on their home turf is the best win of the season. So yeah.
Fair. All right. There you go. We had to call it out. But yeah, guys, so we 2 weeks we have been playing, I know, between the 4 of us, an awful lot of games. And as always, what I love about this group is we play a lot of different games. So a lot to talk about today, including I have a lot more thoughts on God of War Ragnarok, but we won't stay on that for too long because I know we've talked about that quite a bit already. I'm reviewing Callisto Protocol right at the end of that. We've got Midnight Suns, we've got Marvel Snap I want to touch on, Evil West, Pokemon, Need for Speed, High on Life, and Witcher 3 next week. Yeah, there's a lot to chat through here and a few other things we'll touch on, but let me get God of War out of the way. So since we last talked,
truer words have never been spoken.
Yeah.
All right.
Set you up for that one. Travis, correct me if I'm wrong. You have not continued playing Ragnarok because you're playing other things.
It is at the bottom of my priority backlog.
I think
priority backlog.
I think we poisoned the crap out of it for Travis.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, the first 5 hours is kind of poison on its own. But
cool. I always feel guilty, right? Because we've got a group chat. We've got a group chat. We're setting up conversations and things. And at some point, Dan's first to beat it. I'm next. I think then Ains. Is that the order that went in?
I'm at 30 hours.
All right. He hasn't beaten it yet. So the order of operations here is at some point, a few weeks after its release, the floodgates open for like just Dan and I chatting about it in the middle of the chat. And I always feel like a little bit guilty as it's like,
yeah, same.
Travis is put it on the back burner and he's getting all of Dan and I shouting about whatever. And so sorry, Travis.
Yeah,
I'm used to that anyway. I work with critics, so almost 100% of my games are poisoned by somebody else's opinion first. But luckily, I'm impervious to what other people think. I just sort of am like, whatever. But I unfortunately God of War so far at what you guys are saying is I'm like, oh wow, it's that for 40 hours, huh?
Yep.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to it. So for Sardanisms, yeah, we're gonna talk. I forgot she asked me to let her know when we were gonna talk Ragnarok because she's gonna dip out and come right back. Before I do that though, let me let me get these super chats because I forgot we got super chats right out of the gate here. So Dan, are you visible over there? Can you see?
Yeah, I'm not muted, so it's all good. All right, Gecko Gamer. Any update? Oh, I'm sorry, the 2 euros. Any update on your 30-kilo Elden Ring statue?
Yeah, real quick. So it's Dark Souls 3 actually. Got a big statue in this week. It is a 72-pound, 3-foot tall Pontiff Sulyvane statue. Is a boss from Dark Souls 3. It is a very expensive statue, one of the biggest ones I have, and I did the unboxing video that's on the channel now. Sadly, the quality control, which I say in the video, is the worst I've probably ever seen on a big piece like this. It's just not good. So
yeah, there was
I think you're asking ton of problems.
When I watched it, I mean, tons of them. Everything was rubbing off. Oh my god,
not ideal.
No, not for the money either. So Pure Art, who's the company who manufactures it, and I have bought statues from them in the past with no problem. So this is unlike them. They did respond on Twitter. I haven't gotten a response back, and it is the weekend, right? So I haven't gotten a response back from their actual support. And I am a Pure Arts affiliate. Go figure with all the damn statues I buy. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. More updates to come. I'm gonna update the channel when I hear something official. But I've told people don't buy it. It's that bad. So thank you, Gecko. Appreciate you. Google Man in the house.
Yeah, happy holidays and lots of extra lives. €5 super chat. Thank you, Google Man.
Thank you. Google.
Happy holidays to you, Google Man, or Googleman.
Googleman. Yeah, we're gonna say Googleman from now on.
I'll just thank you for the extra lives. This could come in handy.
I've used a lot of them in my time, so yeah,
you have.
It's come in handy. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Thank you, sir. And Gecko Gamer again.
Man, he's back. Another 6 euros. How would you rank every God of War release?
2 and 1 are at the top in some order.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
I don't know.
It's probably true.
I haven't played them all. That's the problem. I think
I haven't played like the PSP ones.
No, I haven't played
the
Ascension.
other
I think I don't.
Didn't they bring Chains of Olympus and Ascension over to the PlayStation 3?
3, maybe. I think they did. I haven't played them though, so I couldn't really say. For me, I did prefer 2018 over the classic.
I did too.
But yeah, I couldn't put them all in order. I'm not educated enough on God of War to do that.
Same.
I do wonder if 2018 will stay in its heightened and lofty status for many people when they realize that 2018 and 2022 are effectively the same story, and they're not even as separable as some sequels are. Like that is one thing. So I'm curious. A lot of people really adore God of War 2022, so I'm not really sure how it's going to wind up in the long term.
Yeah, it's a good point. Good point. Gecko, thank you very much. Appreciate you. All right, so. God of War, guys. So since we last talked, Hoeg, you finished it.
I did.
I saw your
dragged my carcass across the finish line.
Killing me. And I tried to finish it. I played it a lot. I got the 30 hours, like I said, but then Callisto came out, and I jumped over to that. So I'll keep this quick because I don't want to stay on God of War. Here's my thoughts, and then obviously you guys can tell me if you agree or disagree. It feels like that game doesn't know what it wants to be, and at times it's like playing two different games. So you have the part of it which is a more focused God of War experience where you get to explore a little bit, you get some nice mini boss action, the combat's really fluid and fun. You get the kind of little side stories that Mimir and others tell, Freya and whatnot, and that's when it's at its best. The problem is intermixed in there is first party. I said this is a first party problem for PlayStation now, and I do believe that because it's happened across a few of their games now where they, to Dan's point, I don't know if I'm as strong as you guys on calling it pretentious, but it's definitely in your face.
Get to the end, bro.
Yeah, here it's in your face. Here's the point we're trying to make. Do you get it? Do you get it? Do you get it? Constantly, while just walking around and doing the most mundane and tedious actions that I've done in a game for some time. And I play a lot of games. So when you take these two things, it's like I call it a game that is a sum that is lesser than its parts. It is hugely optimized and gorgeous. Stunning world, very fluid to play, great cinematics and acting. And there's some really cool scripted moments. There's actually some very beautiful moments in the game, mixed in with this just bloated, tedious, simple game design at times that just, it's a very, very weird game to me. And I don't know how they let it get away from them so much. It just felt like they tried to, it just filled with bloat. And I'm not enjoying it as much as 2018. I'm not enjoying it as much as I hope to enjoy it. I still think, to be clear, I still think it's a very, very good game. And it's not like I'm saying this is a 5, you know what I mean? Nothing ridiculous, but it's definitely, in my opinion, and I'm not at the end. I don't score games until I finish them, but there's no way, given what I've played so far, 30 hours in, especially the first 12 hours, there's no way this game's a 10. You're absolutely insane to call this game a 10. I just don't. I mean,
your outlet gave it a 9.5, right? I mean,
they did, and I disagree with it, but but it is.
No, I'm just joking with you.
It's true.
Reasonable minds can differ on all of this stuff, right? One of the things I find really interesting is that I think you hit the nail on the head, right? It is the most bloated experience that I can recall. In that it just has kind of random stuff that it just, hey, you want to look around the lake, go look around the lake. You could do it for like 10 hours. It's like, why? What are you thinking here? What is your purpose? Because your stuff isn't that good. So why are you trying to compel me? And it really does feel bloated. Even those scenes, and I know exactly what chapter you're talking about specifically, because I think it's where everybody goes, what? In God of War 2022. But even those scenes that have the kernel of an interesting idea, seems to be like if it's a 15-minute idea, it's 3 hours in Ragnarok.
Yeah, exactly.
And to me, it's a little bit sad. The hope for a sequel is that you improve on your weaknesses and you corner and improve on your strengths. And what 2018 did well was set you in this real world, put it in a grounded environment, make you feel like you're there. A lot of people worked with the story better than I did, but I had, and I continue to have, a pacing issue with 2018. And it seems to me that instead of kind of like answering that and coming up with a solution to it, everything in 2018 is heightened, and that includes the weaknesses, and the pacing problems just get too much for me. Certainly sounds like you, Ains. I'll let Dan speak for himself, but I will tell you, even when I say, hey, I give it a 7, when I finally finished it on Twitter, a lot of pushback.
No, I know. Yeah.
And it's like, well, okay, let's talk about that. But you get a very similar minded pushback to another Sony first-person release, and that is The Last of Us Part 2, which yes. I think has massive pacing issues. I do think it has a little less bloat, even though it's a bloated type game than God of War Ragnarok, but has massive pacing issues, and you just get this. You know the tweets, you know the comments that I'm talking about. It's like, well, you just don't understand it. I don't understand Ragnarok, really. If you really thought about it, you'd get this plot better. It's like, oh, all right.
Have you tried thinking about it?
I have. I tried thinking about it, Travis. I would say Sony's biggest sin to me right now, and this was first evident to me really on Last of Us Part 2, but it apparently has kind of metastasized across the company, is this notion of we have something revelatory, exciting, a eureka moment to deliver to you, and it's something like Vengeance is Bad, and we're going to tell you it 40 hours. Okay. And we're going to just feel really good about ourselves. We're going to do spinning camera shots that we're going to spend 3 minutes with nobody talking because you really need to let this sink in. And it's like, I mean, okay, bro, you can finish this with Fiend and put it all in black and white. It's not going to make it better. And that's what Sony's doing right now.
Yeah,
it's a perfectly fine game. I think the combat is massively improved. I think you're going to like that best, Travis. The graphics are excellent, and some of their solutions for graphics are excellent. Some of the high frame rate stuff, the combos that they have, you can really kind of pick your poison as to how you want the thing to look.
There's a lot of good things in the game.
There's a lot of good things.
It's just marred by what we've already said.
It's too much. It's like reading an unabridged version of Stephen King's The Stand, right? And then you go, oh, you know what? I know why there was an editor here. I know why we didn't have a 300-page journey over into Las Vegas right now. I understand this. Someone needs to edit these games, and I believe you could make them more cheaply if you did. So go for it.
Yeah. Dan, I know you kind of said your piece since you finished it last time we talked, but anything to add?
No, you guys are right. I mean, it seems like when 2018 came out, like the collective mind of like Sony Santa Monica was like, ooh, look what we did and look at all this praise. Let's do that, but more of it because we can do no wrong. That's what it kind of feels like to me. It almost feels like, and the reason I say that is because I've watched several interviews with the game director at the
Eric Williams.
Yeah. And it just, I don't know what it is. With Corey, it always seemed like he seemed a lot more humble than that the guy did. This guy kind of comes out and he's just like, he's got this air of like, just, I don't know what it is, just pretentiousness. And it just bothers me. It's just like, yeah, this is what we did because we're Sony Santa Monica. It's just like come on, just be humble, and it's a great game. I have no problem with a large portion of it, but man, it got to the point where I was just like, I want to be done. I want to be done. You just start pushing and like all the side stuff, and it's just like, okay, you know what? I don't need to do that. I mean, I could. I did some of it. Like I'm pretty close to a platinum on it, and that's by virtue of me. That's just me how I play these games, and that's just it's just I try to get everything.
Get your money out like a dental appointment. Yeah.
Fahim, and he says it's a really good game. I think people are crazy. I just said it. It is a really good game. Yeah, I'm not disagreeing. It's a really good game. I think that where you see some of the criticism come in is the fact that, we're talking about a game that has a 94 meta, right? And is widely celebrated as
one of the highest rated games of all time.
Yeah, as either a 10 or some masterpiece. And I think that's what people like us take issue with. We're not saying you can criticize it and it's still a very good game. But does it deserve this high of praise? I definitely don't think so.
The problem is that word is just, what does it mean anymore? Masterpiece. Everything's a masterpiece, right? I mean, it's losing its actual meaning anymore. So I mean, it's just,
especially over at IGN. Am I right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Shout out to your 1-year Nerf Legends anniversary, Travis.
More comments on that tweet I made now.
What happened? Yeah, I don't want the wrath of Hoeg. The people that give Hoeg shit.
Hey, you know what? There are worse positions to be in than having the entire IGN editorial staff respond to you. But it's I
can't think of many.
The only other thing I would add here, because I have beaten it now, and I think I said 2 weeks ago that I was assuming that the ending was really strong because that's what made sense to me, is it had just some.
And that's
really
what everyone has told me. Well, most people have told me.
It is not. It is the antithesis of a strong ending. It basically stops and rolls credits. And I think it was very anticlimactic, especially for a game with the words Ragnarok on the title. So if you can lower your expectations there, Ains, it'll probably work out better for you than it did for me. It is, everything that was bloated took time away from, the end goal. But I will say the other thing that happened is that it commits the cardinal sin of like storytelling or narrative to me, which is that Dan arrived at the same place that I did, which is I just want it to be over. And I think that's largely because their story takes you to a place where you can see what the ending conditions have to be. And that's about 15 hours before they deign to let you into that sequence. And not a lot changes. There's just a series of kind of separate quests that I still think are informed largely by they wanted to hit. Is this still a spoiler? They wanted to hit a certain mythological figures, side stories and background from Norse mythology. And so you get all of this little crap that are stories that don't really relate to much of anything. Also, they didn't answer the main mystery they set up in 2018. And I am unhappy. That is not good storytelling. So there you go.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know exactly because I haven't finished it, but
Horns.
I will say I've heard from both of you and now at least like several other people who I know, I trust in their gaming opinions that Forbidden West is getting overlooked as the best first party Sony game this year.
100%.
Oh, Forbidden West is better game.
Way better.
Okay. I have DMs. I have people posting about it saying, I don't know why Ragnarok is getting all this praise, even though it deserves praise, of course, but Forbidden West is the better game.
I agree.
I don't even think
agree with that.
Close.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my plan, because as you guys know, I dropped off of Forbidden West when Aloy yelled at me too much. But I'm very excited to go back, especially since, the updates they've done. So I think my holiday plan, which sounds daunting, to be honest, is to play Forbidden West and Witcher 3 again. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I need to finish Forbidden West and get to it. So
yeah, no,
all right.
You should. And yeah, it's interesting that you were bothered that much by Aloy when I would argue God of War might be worse.
Oh no, believe me, God of War drives me crazy.
Get yelled at. Yeah,
drives me crazy. I got to Helheim, just not to stay on this, but I got to Helheim, and I swear it got worse. Like every step, Atreus is like, "Oh, we probably need to go over there and do this here," and I'm like,
"He sure is."
Can you this is unbearable? Like,
what's
who
funny
thought
is I
this was a
forget
good design?
So however many sessions it took me to beat God of War 10 or something, what's funny is I would forget that issue every time. And so they had the opportunity to just stop doing that. But I would turn it on and then like 60 seconds in, I was like, oh God. and it's like, just let me walk into the cave. Just let me walk into the cave.
Yeah, just let me look around for a second. Like, it's unbearable.
See, I disagree with you guys. I think Forbidden West is actually worse there because she does, at least in God of War, they wait 30 seconds.
It's about 30 seconds.
Yeah, but if you don't do anything in like 5 seconds in Forbidden West, I mean, she's like, oh, I can shoot that grapple right up there.
But they did do an update for that game, didn't they? Where they
that was mostly for picking up things off the ground.
That was for the stash.
More than the puzzle language.
Which that part did annoy me as well.
Yeah, that was super annoying.
Both games.
Sony doesn't trust you. Sony doesn't believe you're smart. I'm very sorry to tell you this.
Right.
Yeah.
Sony believes you are malleable and that you need a little assistance in your intellect.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyway, we're done with Ragnarok. I told you we try not to talk too long about it. I won't bring it up again until I finish it. But anyway, Travis, I'm going to kick it over to you to talk about whatever game you've been playing because you were quiet during Ragnarok. So let's go.
Yeah, it's been a very busy couple of weeks for me, so I haven't talked to you guys in a while. So I'm trying to remember everything I played. But I guess the main ones would be Pokemon. Played a lot of Pokemon. Marvel Snap. Still playing a lot of that. I started and am a decent amount of time through Pentiment, which I'm very excited about. Callisto Protocol, Midnight Suns, and also some Grounded. Still playing a lot of that game.
So you're doing all the things.
Yeah, I'm doing all of them, man. I'm that's the master of none. I've not finished any of those games except for Grounded. So I'm not. Yeah, I'm working my way through them, but yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And then I've been working on a review that goes live on Friday for a survival horror game called Choo Choo Charles. Choo Choo Charles, which is a game where you are being stalked by a murderous Thomas the Tank Engine.
Oh, well, hopefully copyright non-infringing Thomas the Tank Engine.
Yes, it is copyright non-infringing.
The Tank Engine.
Yeah. He's Choo Choo Charles.
Choo Choo Charles. You put
Dude,
when
you said something about that, I watched the video of the developer
there you go.
explaining like his journey because it's this one guy. And and then you look at like the comments underneath this video, and it's just like, this is gonna be game of the year. Keep pushing on, buddy. You got this. I'm like, stop. Don't like sit there and praise these guys and tell him he's doing a good job when they're not. Don't give him the participation
when they're not.
But this is what you get because we'll continue to get this stuff because people are like, oh hey, they like my stupid piece of trash game. I'm gonna make 3 more. Stop.
Well,
now wait a minute.
Let me say that I cannot talk publicly about what I think about the game.
I just saw the stuff.
But yeah.
What? Wait a minute. I know, Dan, you hate independent developers and whatnot. I think they should go back to their banking jobs or what have you. But we've gotten some good indie classics out of people that are following their dreams.
Listen, that guy, even in the interview, is like, yeah, this is kind of a joke. Like he says it in his interview.
It is a joke game, which I think that's not a bad thing. I mean, lots of joke games have turned into cool stuff. I reviewed Goat Simulator 3, which I gave an 8 out of 10, which is a joke game more or less. It's Sonic. It's a silly. Yeah, I know. It is. I give it a better score than Sonic. But yeah, I think it is obviously a meme come to life. It is that Thomas the Tank Engine Skyrim mod as a full game, but reimagined as survival horror. Just like that Grinch is gonna kill you horror movie that I keep seeing ads for.
The evil
one. All this other stuff that I'm just like, have you not seen this, Hoeg? There's the Grinch is
it is a great time for crazy horror movies right now.
It really is. There's a lot. There's the Cocaine Bear. There's a bunch of like weird meme
Deadly Night.
Movies.
Yeah.
There's Winnie the Pooh. There's Bambi coming back
Winnie
for revenge. It's a great time.
That's right.
It's a great time.
I'm sure they'll all be stellar.
Just watch the Oscars. If you don't have time to watch the movies, watch the Oscars. You'll see them up there. It's good.
Sure.
The Oscars can't actually identify real stellar movies, so they might just nominate Cocaine Bear. I have no idea.
Anyway, Choo Choo Charles. You can find out what I think about that game on the day that it comes out.
I'm so
always a positive sign. All right.
Always exactly. The day.
Speaking of days that the games come out, I mean, we could segue over at some point to Callisto. That was a weird review pattern for them.
So I'm happy to talk about Callisto. So Callisto, highly anticipated game for a lot of people, including myself. My most anticipated game this year outside
you guys were super pumped for it.
Elden Ring. Yeah, I mean, I was super pumped, and many were. So to give you guys some insight into what happened here, review codes were limited. Even some of the we didn't get one at Season Gaming, but that's not, we're a small outlet, but even some big channels. Like I know Mr. Maddie over at Defining Duke and Last Stand didn't get a code. A lot of people I talked to did not get codes for this game. And then, as we learned, the embargo for the reviews were the day of release, which when you limit codes and your embargo is the day of release, you start to panic, right? It's like, oh God, prepare for impact. And that said, I don't know what the game's sitting at right now. I think it was at low 7s, like 70,
something at mid 70s, I think is the total. But I can look it up.
Which I am now. It shows 14 hours of playtime on Xbox. I think my actual in-game time is right at about 10 hours, and I think I'm on the last mission. So you can expect, and I play games slow, so you can expect anywhere from probably a 10 to 13 hour game, depending on how you play. Maybe a little faster if you rush.
I bet I can go slower than you, Ains.
We'll see. To be honest with you, my review will be out tomorrow or Tuesday. Full thoughts on it, but I'm quite enjoying it. I think people had their expectations misplaced for this game. I don't know why they were expecting like a 90 meta game out of this. This was supposed to be, from all intents and purposes and advertising, basically like a Dead Space type game, and it is a Dead Space type game. I don't know if it's as good as Dead Space originally, but it is a survival horror, brutal. It's got a lot of gore and blood, and some crazy death animation story on a prison on the moon of Jupiter, and it is linear for the most part, quite linear. It is, there's narrative there. It's not some hugely compelling story by any stretch, but it is really what it was advertised to be. And I got to say, I've enjoyed my time with it. I honestly, I was thinking about playing it as we started the show. Like, I want to keep playing it. It's fun. And I'm going to put something out there that I know is going to probably ruffle some feathers, but I don't know if you guys have seen this.
Let me prep my feathers. Hold on.
It uses an unconventional dodge and combat system. So instead of your traditional lock on an enemy and push B to dodge and kind of run and gun, it uses a camera locking system where basically once an enemy approaches you, the game locks it onto you. And it teaches you that you basically hold left and right on the thumbstick to dodge either direction, like a boxer, or you can hold down to block. But you have to do it. It's almost like a rhythm game, right? Like they swing, you hold left, and then they swing again. You have to hold right, and you have to alternate. And then you have to kind of like, melee and shoot and do combos of these things along with your powers. You have the what is it? The telekinesis power, right? With the glove. The grip. Yeah, like your power glove.
Spoilers.
So I saw a lot of reviewers and people I follow and talk to that said the combat is very frustrating. And
I saw that too, Ains. I want to talk about this.
Yeah, that's where, and I got to be honest with you. Like, it teaches you what to do, and it took me all of like 5 minutes to say, okay, here's what they're going for. And since then, I'm near the end of the game, so I've gone through the boss fights. I've gone through where there's like 5 and 6 enemies at once coming at you. And I've created some really cool clips of like dodging and smashing and melee, and you can really chain things together. I think that's what they were going for, is allowing the player to uninterrupted and very in your face chain together these crazy combos. And I've had a really good time with it. And I see a lot of people saying this is impossible and I can't beat this part and this is terrible. And I got to be honest with you, this game is not hard, not even a little bit.
It doesn't strike me that way.
No, and I'm gonna propose another thesis here.
Oh, he's gonna tell reviewers to get good, Travis. You wait.
Pretty much, because my thesis is you may not be as good at games as you think you are.
Oh no.
Oh no. And the thing is that's okay.
Yeah, you're not telling me anything I don't know.
Well, I was joking with a couple people last night, and I said, take Dan. I used you as an example, Dan. I said, Dan jokes with us all the time that he's not great at games. He just plays games to enjoy. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not a character flaw to not be the best Call of Duty player in the world. That's not a big deal. I'm super competitive at Halo. There's millions of people better than me. It's fine, right?
I refuse to believe it.
I don't know why people can't say, I'm struggling here. I'm personally struggling with the combat instead of having to say it's the game's fault. It's not the game's fault. This game's not hard.
Well, it's both.
No, it's not.
Oh, Travis is going to jump in. Travis, first of all, can I get how far are you in Callisto?
couple hours. I'm not as far as you, Hoeg.
You said you're pre-grip. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have the grip yet. Whatever that is.
You're super early then.
Yeah, I mean that is early.
Yeah, so
because Hoeg's really early, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, I guess you guys are saying it's linear, but I was finding like other stuff to do kind of early in the game. Like I was going into the showers and hanging out.
There's little side paths.
When we say linear, it's like the typical linear that you think of. If you were imagining this in PlayStation 1 graphic form, it's the main path and then the hooks with chests.
Right. Yeah, with things that you stomp on.
You can stomp on them or you can open them. I mean, it's up to you.
So I guess my overall thought was, I went in expecting this is probably just going to be Dead Space, and it was. The thing that struck me is I kind of agree with what you said, Ains, which is that my first thought was, oh, it's kind of like Dead Space, but a little worse. That was my initial thought. Everything was a little bit more off. I wasn't as enamored with the world. I thought the zombies are less, interesting to me. They're kind of just like generic, zombies, at least so far. I'm very early. And then the combat also, I don't even agree with your description of it being a rhythm game, Ains, because it says very explicitly in the beginning of the game that you don't even have to time the dodges.
No,
you just hold it down. And so I would say I kind of had your same reaction where I thought like, this is kind of too easy. Like there's not a rhythm part to it. You kind of just hold any direction and you dodge it. And then when they attack again, you just hold a different direction, but it doesn't matter which direction I was
just have to alternate.
I was like, am I like an idiot, or is this just like super easy and like maybe oversimplified? But I will say
this, Travis, not to interrupt you, but once you get further and you start to fight groups of enemies that are coming
multiple from people that I think people
so I got to that too, and they were taking turns.
You haven't gotten to that.
Okay, all right. Well, I got attacked by 3 guys, and 2 of them were just standing there watching me fight the first one, and I was like, this is a little weird. I don't know why they're just standing in the background. And to the point my fiance was watching, and she commented, and she was like, are those guys his like hype men? Why are those 2 people just chilling next to the guy? I was
playing music.
I do not know. That was weird. So
it's their kink.
It's their kink. Yeah, that's true. They just like to watch. But yeah, I would say, I will say this for people who are saying that it's the game's fault. I mean, it's always the game's fault if it's designed a way you don't like, right? Or if you think that it's designed a way that goes against what you look for in games. And some people don't look for challenge in games.
You're being sarcastic, right?
No, I'm serious. That's some people don't look for challenge.
So you just said if you don't like it, it's the game's fault.
Because they designed a game that isn't a way you don't like. So of course it's the game's fault. It's just that it's also your fault because you don't like the thing the game is. You know what I'm saying? It's both. It's both. It's semantics.
It's if they only offer you salmon and you don't like salmon, then
it's the restaurant's fault.
That's all they offer. Yeah. But
well, they can't offer everything to everyone. Like that's
of course, but that's
then you gotta war Ragnarok.
It's both. It's both is what I'm saying, is that like, the game might be designed in a way you don't like. I will say this, for people that are struggling with the difficulty of it, to me, the hardest thing about that game was that I didn't think it was very explained very well at all at the beginning, where they're like, dodge left, dodge right. You don't have to worry about rhythm. You can block. I was sort of just like all at once, like, this isn't jiving with me initially.
Because it's novel. No, I actually think that tutorial screen is very, I mean, you can tell that they had thought about what to say, because the very first thing, you get a guy that you're fighting, and if you're doing it like me, it's like you're trying to dodge, you're trying to left and right, like as they come in.
Yeah.
And so then the tutorial screen comes out, and it's like, hey, bro, were you just trying to time that? You don't need to. And it like explains exactly what we're trying to do. And here's what I would say. First of all, I would say I think the reviews are lower, specifically because it's not Dead Space. Right, you're not cutting off limbs. You've got this different kind of thing. It reminds me the most of a game called Condemned from way back.
Great game.
And I think it gives you. So I think that Callisto Protocol's like design statement, if we were to get a copy of their Bible, is like, let's make these interactions as cinematic as possible. So how do we do that?
Correct.
So, well, you're going to do this thing where you're actually adjusting the camera. You're not separating it out into a lock button or anything that's too gamified. You're just going to kind of move around here. It's going to feel intuitive eventually. And then you're right there with the guy. Now, I actually think you guys are both right, which is I think Callisto Protocol is probably too easy for what it wants to be. It's this horrifying thing. I love the sound design in this game. Masterwork of sound design on this stuff. And it makes you feel really spooky. The environment is awesome. It's you're walking through a haunted house. But the actual monsters, you don't have that dread.
And it gets better.
Yeah, okay, well, good. You don't get that dread from walking down these hallways like you probably should. Even with the really visceral killings, I think that's what people are missing. I don't play Dead Space or Resident Evil or Callisto Protocol to be scared. Even when they're on their top of their game, I don't find it to be a terribly scary experience. So I really like Callisto Protocol because it is most invested in just kind of narrative, environmental, combat storytelling, just putting you in one of these movies. And I honestly think it's much better than I thought it would be because it is so focused on what it wants to do. Now, in terms of environment, right now where I'm at, so I'm a little bit past Travis, but still, I would say, based on just kind of pace, 1/5 of the way.
I think you're on chapter 2, and there are 8 chapters, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of give or take tell, and they haven't really. You're still kind of just going through hallways and making your way through this prison. I do think a prison is a very smart resource type thing to build for a smaller company because you can copy assets a little bit more, and it's a prison. It's an industrial environment. Unlike Dead Space, where very early on you kind of have that. You have that level where you come out onto like the main foyer and like the asteroid is floating by and you get this kind of space notion. You can easily forget it's supposed to be space for huge portions of the early run. Right. You got in the title screen, you got in the back of your head, there's a dude with the mask and it's outside on Callisto and you'll be in space eventually. But as it starts out, it might as well be, Chronicles of Riddick. It's a prison. And so I think that's probably one of the things that is jumping out at people a little bit is it doesn't feel super sci-fi, certainly early on. And so I think that's part of it. But I think the fundamental issue is that it looks like Dead Space. It kind of feels like a Dead Space, and then it is specifically not Dead Space
right.
As a video game.
Yeah, I saw my son play the game because there's no way in hell I will ever pick this thing up.
It's not scary, Dan, I promise.
I can't deal with it. I saw one jump scare. Then I also saw Sam Witwer, and I saw him act, and I said, nope, that's even worse than jump scares. So there is a 0% chance.
Boo this man. Sam Witwer is a gift for video gaming.
He's the worst.
I thought he's the main character, right?
No, Josh Duhamel is the main character.
Josh Duhamel is the main character. And Kiki comes in later.
Who's Sam? Have I met him yet? Is that Elias?
Not Kiki.
Who's Dan Witwer? Dan Witwer is Captain Ferris. He was the one that would have brought you into the prison in the first scenes.
Oh, that guy. Yeah, I actually I was going to say I thought the performances were the best part because that's like the one area I can point at and go, okay, that's much better than Dead Space. Is the
always the same, man?
Well,
I don't know any actors.
There's a bunch of improvements from a decade ago. I mean, like one of the things that is really popped out at me when you start out Callisto is like the faces are nice and they're reflecting the lighting really well.
Very pretty game.
Sweaty. They remind me of
amazing lighting.
Remind me of Fast and Furious with all the sweaty faces.
Remind you of Fast and Furious. Well, I think it almost has like an Alien 3 vibe.
Yeah.
And so you got
also in a prison.
Well, and so I think there's a lot to like about it. I don't think it's trying to reinvent the wheel, but it does have a novel combat system that I agree with you, Ains. The thing that jumped out at me in the reviews was like there were a lot of people that are like, this combat sucks and is impossible. I think GameSpot was like destroyed it for combat, and I was playing it. I was like, okay, so I can see what happens in groups, and I can see what happens with geography because I've played far enough along to be like, okay, so you do have this issue, which is it's really a one-on-one combat simulator, and you're going to have to geographically maneuver around different things and use your grip or whatever. But I think it's overblown. I've thought this a long time, which is right. People say, "Oh, Resident Evil, the originals with the tank controls sucks." I say, well, it kind of puts you in a specific place where the developers want to put you.
And it allows them to give you camera angles that they want to, and it creates tension in certain ways. It allows the directors to do certain things that they wouldn't otherwise be able to do.
Yeah, Callisto has the camera diving around while you have these combat scenarios, and if it were more complicated than left and right and hold down, you'd get complaints about like you can't possibly anticipate what's going to happen there. And so I think it gives you It wanted to be a cinematic game more than it wanted to give you a super compelling, dynamic combat experience. And I personally like that in a game like this. That is like, let me put you in the Nostromo. Let me put you in this environment. And that's what you're going to get out of it. You bought a haunted house. You're going to walk through a haunted house. And Travis is probably going to reject this more than you and I are, Ains, because the combat isn't special at the end of the day. And we know Travis cares about gameplay more than me, certainly. I'm not going to speak to you, Ains.
I just like that it's doing something, to your point, unique. I don't think every game has to have the same controls.
Thank God.
And I like that it's trying to do something. It's doing its own thing. And it takes more than a minute to get used to it because it is different. But once you do, like I said, I got plenty of clips where I'm just like destroying guys. I saw a guy post. Awesome. Yeah, I saw a guy post on Twitter last night of an area, and I want to say maybe chapter 4 or 5. And he's like, this is impossible. I can't get past this. And I looked at it. I'm like, I got through that entire section. I didn't take a single hit. Not one. And I don't mean to say that like I'm
bragging here on the Bitcast.
No, because you get to a point. You get to a point. You get to a point where there's enemies that are blind, right? So it becomes like a Last of Us type thing.
Yeah, there's a couple.
And then you can start sneaking, and you can use other tools at your disposal, and you can sneak attack. And it's just like, again, I don't think people are just using the tools at their disposal. The game gives you everything you need to get through it without a problem. But I think a lot of people just want to play the game like they're used to playing other games, and I think that's a bad way to approach it.
Yeah, well,
play the game how it was designed to be played.
But because the environment is the way it is, you do immediately go, "Wow, I wish I could chop that thing's knee off."
You can shoot their legs out. But
like the plasma cutter.
Sure, like actual cut the limb. But you can So, like, if someone's running at you, for instance, you can shoot them in the leg and knock them down. You also upgrade your melee where you can start to take their arms off.
Yeah, no, they seem very responsive. And I really do think it's a smart thing that they did with bullets. Bullets are not what you think in general to start out with. They've got the separate combo feature with the melee, which always looks good. I mean, they really focused on the cinematics of this. So it looks good when you get the sweet spot up and you hit the bullet button. And so it's just different than I think people expected on that score while not being Dead Space. I, for one, am thoroughly enjoying it, does what it says on the tin, and liking it significantly more than I'm like.
I think if you're enjoying it now, you're going to be surprised because I felt that now that where I am, I think the first 2 chapters are slow. Once you get to chapter 3, it picks up a bit and it adds more mechanics. It adds more narrative. Again, I don't think
it has a great inciting event, right? Yeah, I don't think it has a great propulsive start, which is you crash and then there's a prison riot. I think you could do better with that. I've kind of chalked that up to a more AA team and kind of getting used to things. But in terms of the environment, it's impeccable. It actually makes me excited for the Dead Space remake. It's like, if this is what we can do now, then this is going to look pretty good. And I think it looks fantastic.
It's unbelievable. Yeah. Someone asked, so I want to quickly address performance. So this is one of the other things that annoyed me this week is, so Digital Foundry came out, they did their thing, and from what I've heard, I haven't played on PC, but I've heard PC was a mess at launch. It has now been updated. Don't know if it's better. I haven't played it, but everyone, I saw quite a few people in the Xbox community because I think Digital Foundry said PlayStation 5 was the best running version.
We knew Sony had helped make it. Like
they had some devs on it,
a week or 2 ago.
But I've been playing on Series X since launch. Playing on performance mode, does have quality in performance mode. I've had 0 issues. It's the frame rate smooth. It still looks stunningly beautiful. I've had no crashes. I've had no major bugs. So I think it was like, if you're playing on quality mode, it doesn't have ray traced reflections. It's like, I don't care.
On the Xbox instead of the PlayStation. Yeah, I read that.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm playing in performance mode anyway. But I mean, okay, sure. There was a 12 gigabyte update yesterday for the game. I don't know if that fixed,
That's
what
funny.
was missing.
I don't think I got an update on the PlayStation 5 yesterday. So that might be a...
Yeah. So maybe that's it. But I mean, I all I can say is for me, as we always talk about with reviews, I can only talk about what I experienced. Series X since launch, playing on performance mode, I've had 0 issues. It's great.
Yeah. So I've doing the opposite. I've already been playing for far less than you, and I've already had issues and 1 crash. So on Xbox Series X. So yeah,
I think he just works his too hard, and sometimes when Travis
maybe. Yeah, I mean, I sometimes experience unique glitches that have to do with having like 40 terabytes of data on your Xbox, but I don't think this was that. This was
getting with you.
This was I don't know. It was unlucky. It didn't make a very strong first impression on me. And to your guys' point, I love that they're trying new stuff. You know me, I'm all about that.
A lot of novelty.
I think that it's a little bit of, it feels first drafty to me. It feels like maybe
it definitely feels like a first game from a studio.
Yeah, like they could improve on this idea. I like the idea, but it is a very odd kind of, it's not quite a rhythm game. It's just weird. It is weird.
That really does remind me of Condemned, right? Condemned to me was one of those games that was like, this is an interesting idea that doesn't quite fully come together. And so like Callisto,
the combat,
Condemned as a game.
Oh, okay.
Right.
You got one of my favorite horror games of all time.
I love Condemned. You're talking to like a Condemned super fan. I'm like,
me too. Me too.
I feel like this must have evolved over the years, right? I can't imagine in the moment you're just like, that's it, baby. That's what this has all been about.
No, I mean, for me, the thing that I love about the Condemned was the combat was like immediately surprising, where like you hit somebody and they would like get hit but then spin around and swing back at you, and just freaked me out. I was just like, oh my gosh. It also just, I think it was one of the first 360 games I played, so it just felt so next gen.
The launch game.
It felt like really cool game. And yeah,
you get the black light on the crime scenes. You're like, look at this. Yeah. Look at these.
Yeah, the investigation was cool. Just all of that stuff. I actually, Ains, I think we did a Halloween episode year before last, and on it we were like, what game would you revive? And I chose Condemned as the game I thought should bring back. And what's weird about that franchise is it's owned by a single person right now, because when that company wanted a business, there was a yard sale on the IPs, and so there's like one guy who owns it, and sometimes he posts on Twitter like, what should I do with the Condemned franchise? But he's not done anything with it.
He wants to be Elon.
Sell it to me.
Super weird. Yeah. What would you do with it, Ains? Do you know
Season Gaming is getting into game development. I don't know if I announced this yet. We're gonna publish it. Yeah, Dan's gonna be the primary coder.
Okay, so I didn't mean to pick a game in particular that has this.
I know. Sorry. Chose the wrong
Ains and Travis. I think of it as a launch 360 title that had some interesting stuff going on.
Yeah, I really.
That was a tangent for sure. All right, let's get a couple super chats here that have been waiting.
Let's do it.
Gecko's going crazy.
Gecko Gamer, another €6. Thank you again, Gecko. You're very, very generous. We appreciate you. I am about halfway through. I'm sorry, God of War 2018. Yeah, and it is noticeable how much better it gets when Mimir is accompanied with you. The dragon fight was cool though.
Yeah, Mimir. Yeah, it's good to have a buddy saying things to you in 2018. I think honestly, when you get to 2022, it has the same issues as the rest of the game, which is they have a bunch more kind of pointless Mimir stories because people dug Mimir. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Thank you, Gecko. Sorry, just switching over. And Mr. Forte in the house.
Gaming Forte with $4.99 super chat. Hoeg, say it with me. Hail to the victors. Just another beautiful fall day in Michigan. Bring on Ohio State Part 2. Enjoy your weekend, gentlemen.
We'll hold off on Ohio State Part 2 for a moment. Yeah. But hail to the victors, valiant champions of the West, which makes a ton of sense for Michigan. That's my favorite lyric of our fight song. We're not even in the West Division. It's all good.
Nice. Forte, good to see you, brother. Thank you. Appreciate you guys. All right. That's Callisto. That's God of War. Midnight Suns, guys. Another big release this week.
Callisto is good. I enjoy Callisto. It was my second favorite game releasing on Friday.
Midnight Suns. So, and to be fair, I think to the game, all of us, well, I won't speak for everyone, but it feels like we were pretty like, what is this game even trying to be for months? And it is released to very high praise. Yeah. And I'm hearing a lot of positive things about it. I have not played it, so talk to me about it.
Oh my God. Okay, so I have to talk about this game because it's the weirdest game I've ever played.
Travis,
before Travis poisons the well or makes you all happy or whatever, I want to jump in front of my friend for just a second. I adore this game. This game was made for Hoeg. If you have ever agreed with me on anything, buy Midnight Suns. All right, you're up, Travis.
Yeah, I agree. I adore this game too. But what I'm saying is this is a super weird game. It's super weird. Like every part of it, I'm just like, wait, what type of game is this? So here was the deal I made. This is going to sound crazy. I've played the game for 20 hours, maybe like almost 20 hours.
And
I have not done the mission where you go back to help Spider-Man beat Venom.
Oh no, I've done that.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah. Okay. So
this game can
that's
be
the second
hours long if you want.
That's the second campaign mission. Basically, the second main mission in the game is like you go and help Spider-Man kill Venom.
I knew you would play this like I did. As soon as they open up the other missions, it's like, oh, let's go, baby.
Well, what happened? What happened was, first of all, I know the XCOM formula. I know you can spend forever just doing side quests. So like that was gonna be part of it. But I'm playing it with my fiance. It's not very often I play games where I'm not reviewing it or looking at it critically in any way. And so I was just like, hey, how about this? You like the going around the Abbey exploration stuff and social links, which by the way, it's basically a dating sim. I forgot to mention that part, Ains. That's why this game,
you're a friend with someone doesn't make you sexually interested, Travis. I've told you this in life. I'm telling you it in video games.
They put hearts over everybody's heads, and there's like there are like dating mechanics.
Platonic love.
Some of the characters have romantic feelings for them very clearly for other characters, and you're like playing matchmaker for them. It has like weird dating sim elements. Not just, I get that there's social links and not all social links are romantic, but there are some romantic social links in this game. Not for the character you're playing, at least yet, but
there's
stuff in there.
My hunter is super stoic.
Yeah, my hunter looks exactly like my fiance because she made the character. Yeah, fantastic to look at, might I say. Basically you can get lost in that game doing a million things. For some reason it's reminding me of what I imagined the Hogwarts game is going to be like, Hogwarts Legacy.
That's exactly what I was thinking of in the middle of the game. I was like, walking around here is like, this is Hogwarts.
Yeah, it's like got a Hogwarts campus. It's like, Xavier's school.
Damn it, Travis, we can't agree this much on this game.
I know, it's so crazy.
I was already.
All right. So instead of the verses, I need to create a heart one as well between you two.
You do.
As long as Travis understands that that's not sexual. Yes. I'm not sure.
I'm gonna take it sexually. It's gonna be but yeah, it's just so weird how many things it is. It's got like the weird kind of like BioWare, you've got a party and you're building your social links with them section of it. It's got you can go around the Abbey and discover secrets and unlock different parts and powers. And basically I said, hey, fiance, I will play the combat with the cards and the tactics, and you will do stuff in the Abbey. And
she's running the Abbey?
She has played 15, 16 hours of this game, and I've watched 15, 16 hours of this game because
so much talking.
She finds so many people to do. And then she'll be like, all right, you can do a mission. And then I'll play for like 2 minutes. And then she's like, all right, we're back at the Abbey. I got to do some night stuff. And I'm just like, Jesus, man, I'm never going to get to play this game. So it's just crazy how much you can get lost in it. And the reason I find that so impressive is because XCOM is like the exact opposite. You run out of things to do when you're not in the combat, like immediately. And it's like, just hop back in it. And you can do that in this game, but if you want to experience everything and max out social links and get all of the items and upgrades and stuff, you really have to engage with the other characters and get to know them and do the side quests and stuff. And so it's just such a weird game. It's so weird.
Solomon so much.
Yeah, I'm really into it.
I don't know who could have gotten this passed by any studio with a AAA type budget, because it is insane. And when the game starts out, you get that nice kind of, I describe it as Firaxis video making, but it's not terrible videos for cinematics, but it's like they're roughly 10 or 15 years out of date.
Yeah. They look old, and the animations are a little stiff.
Yep.
And I was sort of like at the beginning, I was just like, oh man, they did not improve at all in this regard. And I'm surprised that Disney and Marvel let them put it out that way with kind of that cartoony.
It's old school. I think it's because of volume, Travis. I was thinking about this. It's like, well, they figured out their level for their project scope that they could do, because they need eons of content. I mean, this game is probably bigger than Starfield is in terms of talking. It's just constant. And there are videos that are not awesome, but not horrible. Like, they don't offend the conscience, but it's clear. It's like, okay, when you're tasking out whatever you built, it could be 3,000 hours long, as far as I know at this point, is we need 600 videos. We're going to be able to get up to this level and get that out remotely close to on time. So it looks like, mean, frankly, it looks like the old XCOM videos, give or take. Like, you know, the Firaxis video style. It's, well, that's not going to be setting the world on fire. But they did such a good job with it. You want to go hear what Doctor Strange thinks about his Demon Forge, and you go and yeah, Travis is right. You go fishing, you know, with Spider-Man if you feel so inclined, and then you go on a strategic battle where, and I know this is Dan's favorite part. You take the 3 characters that you brought with you, you take a deck of cards that you've built, you put them all together, and then you are told who can do something in the battles, and it works really well. You have not played this combat system before, and it is so good to be focused on. It is weird, but and then each hero kind of has their own sub thing going on within the battling, and it's just fantastic. It is Midnight Suns is wonderful. And I really expected more pushback from Travis on this, so I don't know what to do with myself now. I had prepared.
I haven't heard
what would the
anyone
pushback
say it's
be?
bad. I've heard everyone say this is a surprisingly awesome game.
I would have expected you to have more pushback on the Abby stuff. I'm going to be honest.
Oh no, the Abby stuff's the best part. That stuff's amazing.
I forgot how much you like visual novels. All right.
Yeah, I really do. I really do. That's
which is realistically what it is. But it's great. So you don't
whole
like
summer camp with your favorite Marvel heroes and social links.
Which
it's like
have
such a
characterization.
fantasy.
See, I was worried. So when I see that first video, it's kind of campy. It's kind of stupid. I'm like, do I actually trust Firaxis to write characters for long periods of time? And I was a little worried. And let's be honest, it's not trying to do anything super weird. But one, Yuri's back as Spider-Man, quipping it up. He is video game Spider-Man now. And so he just shows up and they write him well. They write Doctor Strange well. Interestingly enough, and this is the same thing that happened with Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, this isn't the MCU. And so one of the things they have to do with the exposition is kind of like, okay, what do you think you know? Oh, and this is what actually happened with this. Yep. And this is my specific relation here. And so there's a couple of bits of exposition. They're like, okay, we got to frame out who these people are now for this.
Correct.
Once you get past a little bit, you could work. But honestly, I'm surprised it got the reviews it did, because I will tell you something Dan will throw up on, which is like the onboarding to this game is 4 or 5 hours long. Like you are getting aspects of it. I'm still getting aspects of it. I'm 25 hours played or whatever. And you're still getting aspects of it because you think, okay, I know XCOM. XCOM has the research and development. XCOM has the equipment. XCOM has the training. All that's in here, but they introduce it to you over character beats and over the course of days. So the basic structure of Midnight Suns is that during the day you fight, and you can still do Abby stuff, but it's different. During the day you fight, you set up your battle, you get everything prepped for fighting, and then you come back and it's the night, and then the night is for hangouts, and the night is for exploring a little bit more, for doing something with, I guess, character spoilers, someone that is at the Abbey, and going through all those steps. But the actual fights that you can pick, you don't have to go and save Spider-Man from Venom, which isn't really a spoiler. It's just a very early campaign mission.
It's very, very, very early, and I still haven't done it. So
right. So because at that point, when you get enough of the tutorializing done, they open up the select your own, this won't advance anything quests, which works with like the 6 different currencies they have running, so that you can play through the strategic portion on the Abbey and make your characters better. But what I really want to say is it's such a tricky thing to go from an XCOM where everybody is, named after your family members or your TV favorites or whatever, and build up these empty vessels into things that you care about, and then take like really popular, really well-known folks and figure out how that's going to work in what you want to do with the strategic system. And it is brilliant. As far as I'm concerned, Jake Solomon is the best there is at this.
It's very good. I will say I do have complaints, Hoeg, which is,
hit me, Travis, because
I think the main story is kind of a bit stupid. I think Lilith is not a very interesting villain, and I think weirdly the worst part is the main story, and the side content is like the meat really so far. And every time I'm doing a main mission or talking about that whole thing that's going on with how your character relates to the villain and stuff, I'm just sort of like, I think this kind of sucks.
I think you have to get a few steps past fighting Hydra every mission, Travis. But
maybe.
Didn't you just say you're on the second mission?
I'm on the second mission, but you like immediately. So you do a lot of stuff when you like get introduced to the Abbey, when you get introduced to the villain, and all of that stuff is like by far the weakest part of the game. It's just like
you know what you're about.
Yeah.
But think about it like XCOM, right? XCOM is aliens invade. Like there isn't more than that really in this. There's a demon. There are demons invading.
Basically it's like, hey, look, there's a person from hell, and Hydra is also under her control. And so, man, I'm never going to complain when you let me kill Nazis. But it's the story so far has mostly been like, hey, look at all these cool characters and relationships and stuff. And anytime I'm dealing with the main threat, I'm like, it'll work itself out. Hell never wins.
One mission he dealt with the main threat.
Yeah. It's 2 or 3 before you get into the Abbey. I can't really remember, but
Travis, I'm not even going to disagree with you on this, because I do put it in that XCOM bucket, which is like, well, you set up some kind of archetypal threat so that you can have those special separate missions and things, so that you don't have to constantly be narrating everything. And I do think it's overall kind of an umbrella archetype that you're fighting against. And to me, that's what works. I think that's a self-selection. But honestly, for Access did a bang up job with the characters, and probably with some help from Marvel, I would guess. But I don't actually want them trying to write a deep. I don't want to be God of War Ragnarok 2.
I don't either, but I wish that they would apply the same storytelling chops they've clearly displayed, the characterization stuff that they're good at in the villain.
I think there's some fun stuff with Lilith that I don't think.
All right, we'll see. Yeah.
Dan, you're not interested in this? Comics, Spider-Man?
It's so good.
No, you would think. I mean, like everything that you're saying makes me want to buy it less. So I don't. I enjoy Marvel comics.
It's the developer's fault.
Dan, this has cult classics.
They didn't make a game Dan like.
Yeah, as I'm playing Hour 10 and going to put it on my top 10 list of the year, I'm thinking, I don't know who is going to buy this. This was made for me, but I don't know for who else. Travis, apparently.
The problem. I mean, number one, card-based deck building games, not for me. I love Firaxis. They made one of my top 5 games of all time in Alpha Centauri way back in the day, but it's
the Sid Meier years. Alpha Centauri is awesome.
Big
shout out. K. Morgan for the win.
Yeah, XCOM, the original XCOM, still one of my favorite games. I still play it every once in a while. Super fun. I don't know. I'm weary about it, and it feels like a $30 game to me, or like, hey, it's coming to
like
Game
a wait
Pass
for sale type game.
Yeah, for sure.
Take-Two will give you a sale. You can wait. It probably won't take too long.
I'll say this, Dan. You don't have to engage in all of the social links and that sort of thing. You just run missions and treat it like XCOM. It definitely lets you do that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence with it. But the problem is, for me, is that in a week from now or 10 days or whatever, The Witcher 3 new update comes out. There will be no time for anything else, probably for at least 2 months. So. I
love The Witcher, but you have played that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
all
awesome.
replay games.
So I know what I'm getting into.
But it's Witcher.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to replay it too. But, you know, it's that'll be over the course of a year, because I can remember where I'm at any given time.
Yeah, I mean, it's still. I mean, I'm sure it's good. Everybody that I've seen talk about it has really enjoyed it. I'm just kind of on the fence. I'm not sure how the deck building really works exactly.
Well, so that's perfect segue, because I was just going to ask, like, what are there like RPG elements, right? Like, do you get gear? Do you build up your characters? Like, how's that work?
You don't.
You get items. You get which you can craft. You get cards, which are basically your gear, and then you upgrade those. And then there's deck building. So like basically, you think of your deck as like a list of powers, and those powers can get upgraded and swapped out. And then you draw them randomly. So like every turn, you might just have like 5 different powers, some for some of the 3 characters that you brought with you. And then you choose which ones you want to play. And so really the reason that they added cards is that way you can't just select every power that you want right away, because that would make the game terribly boring and predictable. Instead, you have to deal with the hand that's dealt you and get creative with, okay, well, I only have these 5 abilities that I can choose from during this turn, so I'll use this one and that one. And then they let you redraw a certain number of cards, so that if you truly get effed with the draw, you can pick one or two.
And this is every like combat,
or you can set up your next turn. Yeah, so if you imagine you start out, you've got Spider-Man and your Hunter, which is your main player character, and whoever, Doctor Strange. They will each have I think it's 8 cards per deck. Those all go together, so you have 24. It will deal you out 5. And then every turn that you have, This is where it really gets. I think it's wisely simple. You can play 3 cards, you can mulligan out 2 cards, and you can move once. But the trick on moving once is that all of your cards that are going to melee attack, or most of the cards that are going to interact with another person or an environment, are going to move you to a new spot. So you can still avoid things and still play for moves, but you get the 1 free move, and you mostly want to use them all once you get certain powers in the Abbey. But you're manipulating things. So some of the cards that you might include in your deck are give me 2 more cards and make me fast, which lowers the price of things, because the cards that attack actually also give you what's called heroic energy, and then the cards that do super stuff require that heroic energy back. On top of that, they're relatively small, contained fights. This isn't Ogre Battle. It isn't even really XCOM. So it's a street skirmish, and it's a superhero fight. So you've got all these environmental items, and those use heroic to use as well. So you can throw a box at someone, you can topple a light post at them, you can try to make sure that you're in a spot so that you can knock somebody into another person that gets knocked into an electrical thing, which stuns them. And it is all very. It's much more graphically impressive for Axis game than I think they've ever done. XCOM 2 might be the exception there, but this is less gun oriented. And it all feels fantastic. But Travis is exactly right. The reason the card system exists, in my opinion, is so that you can't just say, I love Spider-Man and have Spider-Man do everything. So you're using a team and you're interacting and you're figuring it out, and you feel very clever doing it. It's that elegance that I've said I liked in video games, but also board games. It's a very board game kind of oriented feel, which is what can I convey about how Doctor Strange is against how Spider-Man is against how your Hunter is, which is a little bit harder because you're building him up in a specific way, and make that all feel like them while making you feel smart while not overwhelming you. So it's 3 cards a turn, but it is fan-freaking-tastic. Midnight Suns.
Funny enough, I think so. Dan went down as you guys were talking, and I think I'm the opposite. Now I want to play it more. So I think, I think once I get Callisto done, finish Ragnarok. As we get to the holidays, I get more time to play games. I'll probably pick this up. It'll be on sale soon. It just will.
It will. Take 2 will put it on
sale. Somebody mentioned in the comments the number of difficulty options, which is another thing I really appreciate, because you can just keep increasing the difficulty as you play, and it recommends increases as you get through the campaign. It'll be like, all right, you're kind of crushing it. Do you want more rewards to increase
it locks
the
them
difficulty?
out, Travis. I mean, you saw it. You're not allowed. You have to start.
You get to choose when you start, because I chose the.
You have story and normal, and everything else is locked out.
Really?
I
think I've increased the difficulty twice already.
Yes,
but
when you get a certain amount of stars, it unlocks the next difficulty.
Gotcha.
So you've increased it. You're at whatever hard 2 from
something like that. Campaign. And I haven't played anything. Yeah, I'm just
it's got that Outrider setup or that Diablo setup, which is you get more for playing harder. So you get more experience, you get more gear, you get more what is called gloss, which is your cosmetics. You earn the cosmetics in treasure chests and otherwise playing the game, and then you have to spend gloss to actually get them. But they have like, I don't even know how many hundreds of options they have for your person.
I do.
And then they have a dozen for each like hero. And then they have room cosmetic options across the Abbey.
She recustomizes everything in between every activity that she does.
Well, I changed my hair between fights. I mean, Hunter's got to look good.
Wow, you're a little extra, Hoeg. Yeah, I'm just trying to play. I'm trying to play these cards, and I've gotten to do that not as nearly as often. So it's crazy. I've played the game as much as you, Hoeg, and our experiences have been so different. There's so much to do in the Abbey. It's overwhelming. I'm actually at the point where I'm hoping that it's going to start running low on things to do, and every time I think it is, I go and do side quests, and then I come back, and then she's like, "Oh, well, now I got to have the emo heroes meeting with."
You got to have your emo kids meeting.
Emo kid, it's so funny. There's cliques within the Abbey, so the certain heroes will have like.
You're really just driving this into the ground for Dan now.
I mean,
but it's so funny.
What is happening?
You're just playing your strategy game, and then they'll send you another tutorial message or another super chat message. And it'll just be like, well, so we also have these clubs within the Abbey, and you can set up the times if you want to meet with the. I'm like, when does this stop?
Yeah, it's so
far
much.
Does this go?
So there's some Life is Strange for you there too, Dan.
The optional social stuff you can do in the Abbey, I would describe as aggressive. It is aggressive how much they put in there. It's like, because at first I thought, oh, this will just be like a little side thing. They're not gonna make this. It's so much of the game. Like, you can really do a lot of it. It's ridiculous.
I thought so too, Travis. Travis, you're having the exact same experience with it. It's like, oh, the Abbey. They just mean you can talk with Spider-Man, and then you go back to fighting. And then it's like, there was a point while I'm being onboarded where I'm like, am I ever going to fight again? Like,
that's what I thought. I was like, I went like 3 hours without doing a single fight, and I was just like, so D, am I no longer playing this game? Is this just all you know? Like,
am I ever going to fight again? Because the dialogue is long. I thought that you would have more complaints about that, but I forgot who I was talking to. I think a lot of reviewers will have complaints about the Abbey stuff. But to me, it is a recipe. What does Travis always say? It's a recipe I didn't even know I wanted. I didn't know it could exist. So and good. It is fantastic, and I worry it's going to bankrupt Firaxis.
Well, I think the game's doing better than, I don't know what they expected, but I've seen more people talking and playing about it anecdotally than I would have expected. So that's a good thing. You also have guys, you have sold Lucius on this game. He said he's picking it up on sale 100%.
Go get it.
Do it.
Sweet.
It's great.
We got, let's get these.
You don't have to play it, man. I'm sure there'll be a new Hitman out for you in no time.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? December 3rd, January 23rd. January 23rd, Freelancer comes out. Yes.
Hitman, you mean that indie game?
Yes.
Well, technically,
we're not going back there, Travis.
Money, and then
we're not going back there.
Now they're independent.
Gecko with the super chat says,
hello and welcome to the seasoned Midnight Snap podcast. Thank you,
Callisto Midnight Snap. Yes.
Yeah, I didn't know they were gonna go on about Midnight Suns this long, but now I am.
I apologize. I knew that I wanted to talk about this one because I was so surprised.
That's good. That's a good thing, right?
We haven't even talked about my Snap accomplishments. I don't know where you guys are at with that game.
Do you have Marvel Snap accomplishments? I have not really played it. No.
I got Vibranium rank this week.
Nice. So that's level 70, right?
Yeah, 72 or 73. So it's probably as far as I'm going to get this season, but I've been playing that game too. So.
Gecko, thank you very much. Super generous today. We also have one from Mr. Don Lionheart.
Don with a $10 super chat. Happy Thanksgiving, friends. Love you all. I'm driving and can't think of a comment, so I'll leave it there. Thanks, man.
Hey, that's awesome,
Don. Yeah, thank you so much, man. Appreciate you. All right. Yes. Okay, so let me get that off the screen somehow. Maybe. We got it. Nearly 120 people in the chat. Please hit that like button if you don't mind. We're at 50 likes. It'd be great if you could remember to do that. Appreciate you all. All right, guys. I mean, there's other games that have come out too.
I was going to say, I also really enjoy Evil West.
Yeah, there's Evil West as well. So have you beaten it?
No, I'd say I'm about halfway through.
Okay.
I'm less than halfway through, like with everything. Yeah. I've been playing too many games and I'm not through any of them. So
Evil West was my antidote to God of War Ragnarok. It is clearly God of War inspired, right down to the way they open chests.
Yeah, I know.
But it is whatever the opposite of the philosophical proclivities of God of War Ragnarok. That's Evil West. It does not care about its reality or anything else. You want to be a gunslinger and fight vampires? You're up.
Yeah, I played. I think I finished the introductory mission. That's all I've gotten in it.
It's very good.
Do have it. So its
performance is not grand on the consoles, but it is a good game.
Yeah, because frame rate is priority for me. So I played on the 60 frame mode, and you can tell it's 1080p. I mean, you can tell, and the lighting in that game is very odd. It's not well implemented. Yeah, you can't see anything.
Worst. Yeah, you can't see stuff on certain levels. If you're outside and it's daytime, it looks great. If you're in a cave, forget it. That's it. Everything's all the same color. It's all red. So
yeah, a lot of red. You know what did occur to me, which is kind of funny, and this has always been true, so it's certainly not new, but I was looking at a game like God of War Ragnarok, which is produced to the nines, right? Mm-hmm. And you just know how many people and how much money and everything that was to make. And then you jump to Evil West, and this isn't a knock at Evil West, but it is a AA game. And you look at those two things, and you're like, these two things cost exactly the same amount of money. Hey, Crocheted Gaming Dino. Nice. But yeah, these two things cost the same amount of money. It's just that's always kind of funny to me. But hey,
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting in terms of the production costs, but a game that you're enjoying is a game that you're enjoying. I would never tell somebody to just only buy the most polished stuff unless they're Dan.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, it's like, I'll go pay the same movie ticket price to see a budget horror movie as you do the new Star Wars, you know what I mean? Or Lord of the Rings. So, I mean, same type of thing.
I definitely purchased budget horror over the new Star Wars. You got that.
Yep. All right. Need for Speed Unbound came out as well. I don't think anyone here is playing Need for Speed Unbound, right? You guys, I mean, you three, I mean.
Someone that came out until right now.
Someone that generally likes Need for Speed games, no, everything I've looked at is like, nope, that one's not for me. I'll pick that up on the old EA sale next Thanksgiving for $7.
All right. Well, let me say this. I only just started it. So a couple things on it. One, there is a 10-hour free trial with EA Play. So if you're Game Pass, you can go play it for 10 hours.
Seems like a lot of downloading, though.
Yeah, you download it. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Seems like a lot of work.
It is, at least both critically and from the people I talk to who play racing games and kind of enjoy these arcade racers, definitely the best Need for Speed we've seen in some time. So it's in the 80s in the meta. Yeah, it's in the 80s, and I think 83, maybe about the same as Midnight Suns. I think they're both 83, actually.
That just strikes me as wrong. But I haven't played the one game, so there you go.
And I know that a lot of people I talk to who play arcade racers are enjoying it. So I've only played the first mission. It's very, okay. I prefer the Forzas of the world, so it's not really for me. But I think I think if you like arcade racers, go ahead and try it. It seems people are really enjoying it. So
hey, I know nothing about it. I actually didn't know it released. So was it Friday? Was it Callisto and Midnight Suns Day? It was also Need for Speed.
Yes.
I can't even tell you what's the subheadline on this one.
Unbound. And it came out. It was like a surprise launch. I want to say it came out like Thursday. It just came out. Yeah. So.
All right. Well, Unbound is not going to help me remember it against Underground. So, okay, I'll work on that.
My favorite part, and this is purely an old guy car joke, but they let you choose from 3 cars at the beginning, like a lot of these games do. Like, choose which junker you want to start with. And it's like an old
Corolla.
Yeah, it's like, well, no, it's like, what's funny about it, right? It's like a 70s, like I want to say Plymouth, like muscle car, and then it's got the Silvia, right? The Nissan Japanese Silvia. Then it's got a Lamborghini Countach, and I'm like, okay, that's an interesting choice for a junker to start with. That's about a $300,000, $400,000 car in real life. But okay,
those are my junkers, yeah.
So, anyway, though,
you just take your Lamborghinis and put them straight in the bay when they get a year old.
Yeah,
so whatever.
Yeah. And you guys did get me playing Marvel Snap, by the way, over the past 2 weeks
since we did on Twitter.
Yeah, since we did our little segment last Bitcast, I have been playing that. I've slowed down a little bit on it now. I lose interest here and there, but I do still turn it on every day and check it out and play a few matches. And it is very good. It's very good.
It's great for football. It's almost exactly the time it takes to do the commercials.
Nice. All right, guys. Real quick, Travis, how far in Pentiment are you, and are you liking it?
I'm really liking it. I'm not very far at all, as you may have noticed a pattern here. I'm
yes.
Yeah, it's like like I said, I'm master of none right now.
Renaissance man. Yeah.
But here's the thing. I'm enjoying all of it. Like even the stuff where, Callisto Protocol is it as good as Dead Space? No, but I'm enjoying it. Midnight Suns is really cool. Pentiment is unlike anything I've ever played before. We have lots of very unique games that have, qualities that I really enjoy. Even Pokemon is as badly it runs and kind of the story's meh, but it's very novel and it tries stuff new. And I'm liking that we're focusing less on super overdeveloped AAA games this season and instead focusing on experimental, maybe a little rough around the edges stuff. I also have been playing Evil West as well. So Need for Speed is really the only game I think we talked about today that I haven't touched at all. And I want to play that one as well. So I'm sort of a dog chasing cars right now. But I like Pentiment a lot. And I adore Sawyer as a writer. And I think it's super weird. And I'm excited to see where it goes because I hear it gets even better as it goes. But I love visual novels. And this is 100% a visual novel. So it's right up my alley.
Cool. Yeah. Keep me posted because, as you know, I enjoyed it, and it gets. I'd say there's 3 acts, and I think the second act is the strongest. So once you get to the second one, and kind of get into the story a bit more, it's really good. So
cool,
good stuff.
Yeah, I'll keep playing it.
All right, and then next week, we get High on Life, which I know. I think me and Travis were excited for. Hoeg is not. Dan, you playing High on Life? You want to have a knife that yells at you to stab
like
people?
The unfunniest thing I've ever seen. So you guys let me know.
We'll see.
I don't even. What the hell is High on Life?
It's the guy. It's Morty yelling at you.
Oh, I remember. Yeah. Okay. No, absolutely not.
Yeah, Dan and I are going to sit over here.
So Travis, I'll move the verses up to the middle, so we'll just have our sides on this
right.
one.
Yeah.
That's I think it comes out the same day as Witcher too.
There's a 0% chance.
Yeah, day before 13th and 14th. You can play High on Life for one day.
At least it's a new game.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, at least it's a new game.
Yep.
It's gonna be our motto now.
It's a new game. I praise. You know what? That game hasn't been released before.
Apparently, that's something people don't consider.
Well, in fairness, for Xbox, if they get a new game released, it's a win for them.
Exactly.
We had 2 trailers since we last talked, fellas. We had the Super Mario Brothers official trailer, and just yesterday we got the official trailer for the Last of Us TV show, the full trailer. You guys watch those? What do you think? And I really, really enjoyed the Super Mario Brothers trailer. I think it looks great.
Mario's going to be good.
I think it's going to be good.
Great.
Yes.
Oh, you guys are just okay.
Well, cool. They're deliberately not showing you much of this story, so it's mostly just people evaluating voice acting. I don't much care for Jack Black as Bowser. Chris Pratt sounds like he's on Valium so far, so hopefully that improves. It looks like it will be good. I think the Toads will be a Hoeg family favorite. And I'm not certain about Princess Peach. It looks like they tried to elevate her to a main character kind of thing in this movie, so we'll see.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. We did the Geralt.
Looks like brain. That's what it is. It looks fine. I mean, I'm going to see it when it comes to whatever streaming service. I'm not paying money to go see it any more than I'm already paying. So, no, I'm good.
I told my wife, I said, we're seeing Mario in the theater. Deal with it.
We'll be there in April.
No.
April 7th, yes.
Well, we'll know, I guess, before then, because apparently they're releasing it everywhere else in the world except Japan before us. So that'll be interesting. They've got releases throughout March everywhere else.
Wow, I didn't know.
And then it's like
Last of Us
June for Japan. I want to say
Why would Japan be last?
Man, I don't know.
Hoeg's like, it wasn't my decision. I didn't do this.
I looked at the release schedule. I was like, well, I don't think Japan should have to wait an extra month and a half after us. But okay.
Huh. Interesting. Last of Us TV show. What's your interest level in this?
I am excited, but not super excited. It's one of those I get to basically watch what I played. Good actors. I'm a big Nick Offerman guy, so
yeah, I don't think Nick Offerman's working for me, and I don't think Ellie's working for me.
No,
he's too Ron Swanson. It's just I can't.
That's fair.
What character is Nick Offerman?
What's the name of the dude where they go and get the stuff from the first?
Bill.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
It'll be fine.
I'm interested. Yeah, I'm interested to see. I thought the trailer was really good, but I'm.
Yeah, they're good at cutting trailers.
Yeah, exactly.
It will be better than the Halo series. That's all I can say.
Well,
again, a lot of high bars today. A lot of high bars. So
we're setting it right here. So
yeah,
I don't games know. And
I don't know what it is about Ellie. I liked her as Lady Mormont back in Game of Thrones days. So she's not capturing Ellie to me. And so it's like, all right, maybe you're doing something different, which is fine. But I don't know. I'm not intrigued. So
maybe it's her face.
Well, she doesn't look like Ellie, but I don't. Pedro Pascal doesn't look like Joel either. So
Nick Luna, or what his name is, Luna something, doesn't look like Diego Luna. That's his name.
Yeah, they don't have to look exact, but I think.
Sure.
What you said about Ellie, it doesn't feel like Ellie to me. so far.
Yeah,
so we'll see.
Yeah. Well, because Ellie isn't exactly innocent, but she goes on a journey in Last of Us, right? And I don't know whether they got that or not. I can't tell from the trailers. So
back when excellent, concise stories were told in PlayStation first party games.
Well, Last of Us is certainly shorter than Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah, that's for sure. I don't know if any of the four of us will know much about this either, but it is huge news in the gaming industry, which is Fortnite Chapter 4 begins today.
We're ready for it at Hoeg House. We love Christmas Fortnite.
Oh, there you go. All right. So new map launches today. It's the first, if I read this correctly earlier, it's the first kind of full update to the game, meaning new map and stuff since last December. So it's been a year.
We play Christmas Fortnite. Okay, we only ever play at Christmas. But it's very funny. We play this season. So this 3 months we play Fortnite, and then we don't play it the rest of the year.
Okay. All right.
Did they announce any like save the world content?
Yeah.
No.
What?
Never.
No. Not bringing it back.
Save the World doesn't exist. The game I reviewed doesn't exist anymore.
Oh well.
You got to follow the money. You know, we can criticize Epic Games for a lot. Tim Sweeney siding with Elon Musk and his mad rants, whatever you like on the Epic side, but you go follow the money when you got Fortnite sitting there.
No, I agree. Also, yeah, but it makes sense.
Yeah,
I also play Fortnite occasionally. And
come on, join the host.
It's good. I don't have a lot of patience for the loop of doing just okay, and I just do another match and then another match. So
I think they do a lot of good job in Fortnite of setting you up with things to do on the map. I think very rarely when I'm playing Fortnite, especially with my daughters, are we playing Fortnite, right? We're going and we're trying to
win.
Right. Or at least focused on it. At some point you try to do your missions, you set them up. This is where we're going to land. We're going to try to do these 3 things. And then if you're like, well, I'm 15th now, I guess we should try to win this, because there's almost no reward for winning. So it's mostly about going and hanging out and seeing the new stuff and earning the stuff. I've said this for the longest time. Fortnite to me is the most successful because they have the best artists making the most stuff. And that is what drives that loop. So we like it at Christmas. They generally do their kind of the gift, whatever they do this season. And so we enjoy that. I take Paul Atreides out there. I dance the cat dance on the top of hills. And there we go. Which is my eldest daughter who loves Dune and loves the Dune movies because they had the Dune sales last year or whenever it came out. Paul Atreides, obviously, very, very serious character. So making him do cat dances makes my oldest daughter very angry. So I'm a dad.
Nice. Yeah, and Geralt and Hulk and Doomslayer and others are apparently coming.
Is Geralt coming to Fortnite?
Geralt is coming. He's on the lead-in. And Epic actually came out this morning. Funny enough, you don't think of Fortnite as to your point, Hoeg, great artists and great IP licensing, as we've seen. They bring
their lawyers are the best in the business. That I said 4 years ago when I started Virtual Legality. Is like the stuff they are doing with IP licenses that they are getting through these IP holders was amazing. And then once they hit critical mass, it undoubtedly got a lot easier. But like that stuff to begin with, we're gonna make Darth Vader or whoever. We're gonna make. Thank you for Thanos. We're gonna make him do absolutely ridiculous stuff. And we're gonna give you your pacifist IPs. We're gonna give him shotguns. It's like the fact that you got through that early age of Fortnite. I'm so impressed by the Epic Games lawyers. You're not going to hear that take in other gaming podcasts.
It is crazy. But they Epic came out this morning and announced that they're using a whole bunch of new features in Unreal 5.1 for this game, including Lumen and Nanite and all these other things. And you look at the screenshots they showed from the new map, and like it's oddly impressive. Like it's that cartoony Fortnite style, but it's really, really kind of, I don't even know how to describe it. It's very sharp looking and very kind of unique looking. I think it's going to be neat to jump back into.
Epic Games.
Oh yeah, of course.
Epic Games pimping the Unreal Engine. You wouldn't expect that.
Yeah, I know. It never happens. Right?
Fortnite was one of the first places they put ray tracing in, and it's always one of those interesting things where it's like, I don't think I care, and you're like, I feel exactly the way you do, Ames. It's like, it does look better, and I don't know why.
It's like oddly impressive.
It looks nice. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. So they put out a blog post this morning talking about the technology that they're using in the new map. So check that out if you like that sort of thing.
It's downloaded. It downloaded this morning. We're good.
Nice. There you go. I uninstalled it a bit ago, but I always reinstall. I'll play like 2-3 matches, and I'm like, all right, I'm good. And then
I'll try to play it. I'll try to play it. You guys, I'm so stretched thin. I'm still working on the Modern Warfare campaign, guys. That's how behind I am, dude.
You have to select some to just not play.
No, I can't do that. I
can't play everything.
I have to play them all.
Travis and Dan are two opposite ends of the spectrum. Dan plays a handful of games. Travis plays them all.
Hoeg, this is why I sacrificed having friends or loved ones. I need to play them all. That's my whole thing. If I don't get to play all the games, then what has any of this been for? You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to say.
That should be the name of your memoir.
What has any of this been for? Every page is just a different game.
Yeah, exactly. Look. Did I get to experience the joys of fatherhood or, loving family, Thanksgiving, any of that stuff? No. But look,
Travis, as long as you're having fun.
More games.
Right.
I don't mind you saying, hey, I got too many games, I'm backlogged, I get through that. The ones that I worry about is when you sound like you want to die while you're playing the games. So it sounds like you're having fun with all of them right now.
I'm having fun with all of them right now. There are some that are obligation games. Like I'm gonna have to play Ragnarok purely out of obligation at this point. I'm not like excited about it, which is not a good thing to feel. But
it's funny. You guys said the biggest games of the year, and I don't envy you. Like you're sitting there describing it, it's like I don't want to play Ragnarok again.
The good news for you is it's not
the combat's better, and
it is much better.
Yeah. So
when you get to do it, it's good.
Sometimes
this is why I'm not excited.
Fruit. Sometimes you just want to pick fruit. Sometimes for 2-3 hours.
Oh boy! Speaking of combat, I'm not excited about this. I know plenty are because this franchise has never done it for me. But millions and millions tell me I'm wrong, which is Monster Hunter Rise. Finally coming to Xbox and PlayStation on January 20th. It is launching in Game Pass as well. And unlike the Switch, it will have that's coming on Game Pass at launch, and it's 4K, 60 FPS, 3D audio, DualSense support, kind of fully featured.
It's a fantastic Steam Deck game.
Okay, all right.
That has the high res,
Monster Hunter Rise is super cool. By the way,
okay.
Does it come with Sunbreak?
Yeah,
I think Sunbreak is releasing. I don't know if it's like a package or not.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's coming out on PlayStation, Xbox with parity on Switch and PC. So I don't know if it's part of the package, but the game's super cool. I played the new DLC at the Tokyo Game Show coverage that I did for Capcom. So it's awesome. If you haven't checked out that game, I'm very interested to see what it looks like on Xbox and PlayStation, because almost all of my experience with Monster Hunter Rise has been on the Switch, and you guys know what that looks like.
You'll be sad. It's significantly better on the PC.
Okay, yeah. I think I may have done the preview on the PC, so that was my one time experiencing it. But it's obviously, it doesn't look like Monster Hunter World still, but it it's good enough to where you're not constantly thinking like, wow, I'm playing on the Switch. So
I think I actually prefer the Rise line of lineage from the original Monster Hunters over World. World is just a kind of a different game.
It is a different game, but I like World a lot. So.
Oh, everybody likes World. I mean, World is what really made Capcom a lot on Monster Hunter side. It's just different enough. Rise is essentially the old Monster Hunters.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure World is Capcom's #1 selling game of all time. Is it not?
I think they made a fortune on it. Yeah,
it's probably true. The traditional kind of Rise lineage for me is they're fun games. I really hate the grindiness and the amount of just like resource collecting and that sort of stuff. It takes a little too long to do everything in that game. That's also kind of my problem.
You thought about not doing everything in the game.
Yeah, it's just like every mission it just takes so long. I don't know.
No, it is true. I mean, I think Monster Hunter was interesting because it really was clearly kind of a Japanese focused game. I don't even know that they were sure of in terms of, you look at how they kind of brought it over. It's like, this is very specifically small maps, lots of resource collecting, and it just took off. I think World really made it in the West, but I just prefer the Rise model.
Nice. Maybe I'll give it a shot. It's on Game Pass. I have no reason not to. But I've
check it out.
It's never. I've tried I've tried like 3 or 4 times to really get into Monster Hunter, and every time I'm just like, this is not doing it for me.
Well, how many Dangos do you make with the cat chefs? I mean, that's really no.
Well, so that's a thing, Ains, is every single Monster Hunter game has like a 10-hour barrier of entry before you really get to start doing any serious monster slaying, and that's the worst part of all of the games. It's sort of like the tutorial of like a Pokemon game where you're just like, oh my god, kill me! I know how to catch a Pokemon. I know how to do a battle, and so that to me, I don't think you're gonna make it. Personally, I don't think you're gonna make it.
Well, that's why I'm glad it's on Game Pass. I can try it. But Dan, you like this, right?
I love Monster Hunter. Maybe if they added an Abbey in a card deck building game, they can make
Monster Hunter Rise totally has an Abbey. Let's just be clear here.
It's just a giant
Monster Hunter World.
Ship.
The village has an Abbey.
Perfect. I'm in. We're good. I can build relationships with my weird cats. Things.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And weapons.
And your weird dog. You got both in Rise.
Oh, geez, that's right. Yeah,
you got dogs and cats. All right,
living together.
One of these days, I'm going to get Dan to discover his joy and love of all different types of games. One of these days, we'll break through.
Start with Oxenfree.
That's going to be the finale of the show because I don't know that we can improve on that.
That's Bitcast Endgame.
Yep.
Dan just says, I stayed up all night, man, and I played Midnight Suns and then Rogue Legacy.
I finished Oxenfree 2, and I loved it.
Oxenfree 2. What a story.
I felt for those kids.
We're going to have to wait until he's a grandpa. I hear that's when you really start to soften up. You know what I mean? So when he's a grandpa, he'll start loving every game.
The funny part is, I think if you could break through it, Dan, I really do think you'd like Midnight Suns. There's a lot
I bet I would, but I just can't bring myself to pay for it.
I'm going to advocate for it like a lot because I'm worried that it's going to get canceled. Because it's like, well, this clearly cost a fortune, and I have no idea what the audience for this is.
No, they'll be selling it like hotcakes then.
I think it'll sell well. I think people will turn on the game and be like, "What is this? This is not what I." Right.
What I mean? So you might get through the first sales, be like, "All right, I like Spider-Man. I thought maybe Wolverine." Well, you're not going to get for 800 hours, but that's fine. Let me play this game a little bit. What the heck is it? I thought this was Ultimate.
I think that's what's going to happen. I think it's going to sell because of the IP attached to it and the way they've marketed it as just like a generic action game. The marketing has been terrible on this game, like horrendous.
Yeah, what you guys described, no casual would ever think of a Marvel superhero game being.
You tell me if you go watch those commercials or those awesome cartoons that they did as the prequel, you watch anything on the Midnight Suns channel outside of the developer live cast, and you tell me that you have any idea what this game is going to be.
Well, that's what we joked about. We even joked months ago, like, we don't know what this game is. Like, what is it even trying to be?
Dude, try explaining that you're playing a Marvel card game right now.
Yes.
Yeah. In this landscape with both Marvel Snap and Midnight Suns now both in the 4. It's a very confusing landscape because I think there's a lot of I was looking at people talking about Marvel Snap online, and there were confusions about if this was a tie-in, if Midnight Suns was related, because they're both Marvel card games that came out at almost the same time. It's kind of crazy. So
and if I were them, I mean, what is their season? What is the current season theme? Because I probably would have done a Midnight Suns theme.
There's not. They're skipping over it entirely. No tie-in, and I think that is an oversight.
All right. I really don't care to talk about this much anymore, but I figured we'll get our update from you, Hoeg, on as the acquisition turns. We need our multi-week update on what has happened in the world of Xbox acquiring Activision.
Sure, I'll just make it very short. Sony has escalated its fight and has now said to the major regulators that we can see that there is no way that the deal should be allowed at all, rather than licenses or anything else. That the gaming industry needs an independent Activision, or it will fold in on itself like a dying star. Now, you can take that however you want from Sony. I think it's ludicrous, but reasonable minds can differ on this stuff. And we are hearing inklings that the FTC is either prepping a lawsuit or likely to file a lawsuit. I've talked about that at length in my channel, so I'm not going to waste everybody's time on Bitcast. But suffice it to say, if you're going to look for concessions on this, if you're going to ask for a Call of Duty 10-year license, whatever it might be, and we saw that Microsoft said that they had offered Sony a 10-year license in that New York Times article. I have no idea whether that was before or after the last time I talked about this with you all, so I apologize for that. But there's a 10-year license in play. Still seems most likely that concessions will be asked for, but as part of that process, any regulator essentially has to make the claim that the deal would be illegal but for those concessions, and that usually revolves around making a complaint document or being prepped to have a lawsuit. So it's very difficult to distinguish when you get leaks about whether or not they just have that in the back pocket in order to negotiate for concessions or to actually file to block. We do have another bit of leaked information that I'll probably cover in Virtual Reality tomorrow, depending, because I got Elon Musk doing crazy stuff as well. We just got too much stuff in Virtual Reality. But that Microsoft has said they will go to the mattresses on it if they are fought on this. And that makes sense because Microsoft's on the hook for between $2 or $3 billion if this gets stopped by regulators, which means that they have every incentive to sue as long as they think Activision is still worth what they would pay for it, which is just under $70 billion. So that's basically where we are at, but all across the internet with various video game commentators, you'll see very excited versions of that conversation in both directions from the Xbox and Sony side. Sony's being crazy, in my opinion. I don't think this is going to do great for comedy across the industry in the long term, but I still think that the actual legal bases for any kind of stoppage is pretty weak, so I don't see that happening.
Very good. Let me ask you this real quick. This seems unusual to get, like, it feels like because of this acquisition and the everything that's gone into it that we've talked about at length. I know you've talked about at length. It feels like we're getting more insight into some of how these processes work, especially as they relate to the gaming industry.
I like to think that's my channel.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Increased insight. I do take a lot of requests for quotes now that hopefully are filtering out with more information.
I have seen. Yes.
This is the biggest by a lot, right?
Yeah.
And so you are also getting a United Kingdom that is separated from Europe for only a few years, figuring out exactly what their public relations is on this stuff. So that's the biggest item that's happening right now. Is the FTC goes very quiet. We don't talk about people's laundry until we decide to sue here in the United States. The UK is treating it like it's a Kardashian show. Like they tweet out, "What do you think we should do about Microsoft?" and random stuff. It's like
it's crazy.
Regulators, what? Yeah. And so they put out the Twitter threads complete with emojis and things like that. And I'm sure someone at the CMA has me on a blacklist somewhere because I am pretty critical of that process. The European Union is a little louder than the American side insofar as they give the press release when they're advancing the investigative ball, but that's where they leave it. They're not doing the things like the CMA. So I think really what you've got is United Kingdom sowing its oats. I mean, more than anything, that is just not something that you've had to deal with in public for major deals for more than a few years, and certainly not ones that we'd really usually think about, right? They might have done one of those statements for like NVIDIA ARM, but we weren't focusing on it.
Right. It's interesting. I mean, it's I was on a show on yesterday actually with Archimedes and Cog and Dutch, and we were just like, oh, this needs to be done. You know, it's just like tired of hearing about the constant shows. Yeah, it's just exhausting at this point. But
Sony escalating was really the only unexpected variable, I think, so far. I've talked about it before. 18 months. You give 18 months because you think you're going to have to go through some regulatory stuff. That all seems to be on pace. I can't believe Microsoft anticipated. They could have said, hey, there's a chance that Sony will do this, certainly. But the fact that Sony has gone out and just said our business is in ruins if this third-party vendor we didn't lock up goes away is, well, it takes a certain amount of benefit of the doubt that I think would be unwarranted for that particular statement from them. And this usually comes out in comments on my channel as well. You're an Xbot or whatever. I said, you know, honest to God, if Sony were on the other name on this, I would be calling out Microsoft if they tried to pull this crap. It's not a Sony Microsoft thing. It's just not how the industry works. And thankfully, we're in one of the most dynamic industries in the history of the world. And so Call of Duty is very popular. Yes, they might take your market share, but that's not your God-given right. And you can compete. We know you can compete. So what are we doing? And so I do think that ultimately it comes down to that way, but I still have to reserve that 35% because there are political benefits out there for places like the FTC to just say, well, we're just going to go run it up the pipeline. We don't care. It's not our money. And, maybe we get the antitrust laws changed either from a judiciary that proves to be sympathetic, or we go out there and then we have in our back pocket, look, this deal should have been stopped. It's an enemy to all the people, and we're not going to have to prove that in any way. And let's go get the actual legislature to change the law. So it really depends on how activist you think the politics is going to be here as part of this equation. And that is tricky. I can't predict that. I can tell you what the law says right now. I can tell you what the precedent says. I can tell you what the courts are likely to think about this. I can't tell you what a politician might do at the FTC that says, let's just run it up the flagpole. That's a possibility.
I think it just shows a lot of lack of faith in Sony's future, at least,
I think it presents that way.
Yeah, it's what it feels like, right? It's like, yeah, we can't survive without this.
I think I'm more cynical than that. I mean, it definitely reads that way, Dan.
Right.
But I believe they're saying whatever they think they can say.
Exactly.
I believe they escalated at some point in the last few months to, we think we can stop this. And so they have burned the house down. And so I don't actually believe, and I've said this a number of times on my channel, I don't think Sony believes what they're saying here. So, I mean, that stretches credibility past the breaking point for me. But I don't Jim Ryan, you got an actual effective truth serum in a room somewhere. I don't think he believes one bit that Sony's going to dissolve. The video game industry is going to explode if Call of Duty is only on Microsoft. So
do you think the Bungie purchase then was something, I mean, obviously they thought it was going to help them with, future titles and getting into that live service and all that other stuff. But do you think that was kind of also just by chance it makes them look, because they, when they bought them, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought there was, we're still going to be putting Destiny on all consoles, on all places and stuff. Were they using that as maybe some kind of weird backhanded PR? Like, look at what we're doing with Bungie and Destiny.
I think Bungie wasn't willing to move without that kind of power.
Yeah, okay,
I still think that's a stupid deal for Sony, depending on exactly how that's contracted out.
Mm-hmm.
But Travis, if they actually contracted the rights to control parts of Bungie's infrastructure and resources, it's a stupid deal. So, I mean, it's a matter of what exactly is in that paperwork.
I think it's a great deal for Sony specifically because of the brain trust they get in live service games. But I get
they're allowed to leverage it.
There will be a brain drain no matter what. That's what all that money for keeping people in the company was for, because people are going to be staying in the company of Sony, but not at Bungie. That's
Travis, you're projecting out what the plan is. I'm not disagreeing with you what the plan is at Sony and at Bungie. They don't always work out that way.
Correct. I think they signed whatever they thought they had to get Bungie, and Bungie knew that they kind of had them over a barrel. So, both sides are being disingenuous, in my opinion. I think Sony is being pretty disingenuous by saying how much of a threat it is. It's really not that. It's just a matter of dollars and cents, and they think that they have a shot at disrupting this process, so they're taking it.
Yep.
Which I don't think is going to be. A, it's not going to work, and B, when it doesn't work, it won't be worth the capital that they've lost. Making
goodwill.
The goodwill that they've lost in the industry. And B, I think Microsoft is obviously downplaying how much this would help their business, and the whole exclusivity thing, which I think is probably less straightforward than they're trying to make it sound in terms of how much things will be available on other platforms and in what form and all that stuff. I mean, we all know that why Xbox is acquiring this company, why they want to acquire them.
You're exactly right. No, I think Microsoft has gone too far with their primary mode of argumentation right now is there's no possible incentive we would ever have to make this exclusive. And it's like, well, no, I mean, the incentive is obvious. The question is a math equation. It's not, your incentive is clear. You'll sell more Game Passes and you'll sell more Xboxes. The question is, where does that wind up on the scale? And so going out there and saying there's no possible reason we'd ever do this is like, no, you want to play it a little bit more honestly than that, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But that's not the direction they have chosen to go. So Travis, I think you hit the nail on the head. As a corporate law guy, I don't actually begrudge Sony shooting their shot, but I think you could do it better than this. And I do think it's going to cost some goodwill. And I do think that regardless of how this goes, I think you've made certain amounts of enemies in the near term at Microsoft and Activision.
And probably, anyway. Say other companies as well. I think that there's a lot of companies that want to get acquired that are looking at this going, why are you doing this?
Electronic Arts can't be super thrilled about getting dragged hardcore in the Sony statement to the CMA.
Yeah, I think that they're going to piss off more than just the Microsoft and Activision players here, because it's just it's a huge, like, you know, it's airing dirty laundry in the industry and making it it's going to make it harder on everybody to do.
Well, no one would be happier. I mean, here's the thing about you don't want to pick winners and losers when you're enforcing antitrust laws. There is no question Electronic Arts would have their best day ever if Microsoft decided to take Call of Duty in and make it exclusive on Xbox, because that opens up the PlayStation market entirely. And so, the Electronic Arts of the world, the Bandai Namco's, you might remember I said this a couple months ago, where they say, well, every game is unique. It's not, when you say it's irreplaceable, it's like, yes, every game is irreplaceable at some level. And so, all of these various places, there's like, no, Take-Two says there's no problem. Ubisoft says there's no problem. EA says there's no problem. Bandai Namco says there's no problem. Google says there's a problem, because you want to talk about a disingenuous party. It is Alphabet that goes out there and spouts some crap about browser support to try to get this stopped, because they want to have something against the Epic Gameses of the world, which Microsoft is tag teaming on this. So it's a bit of a mess. I still say the good money is on this, goes through with concessions that Microsoft can live with. And that's where it ends. And I think Sony will have burned some bridges. I said this in my videos as well, but it's like, I've been a Sony fan forever. I had a Sony PlayStation 1995. I've had every Sony PlayStation, I think, on launch day, all the way through here. I love their stuff. I'm a JRPG fan. I play the PlayStation most often. I cannot sit here and say that I don't feel a little bit negatively towards how Sony is treating all this. That's just the truth.
Whatever, Xbot.
I'm kind of Well, you said what would they could have done it differently? How would they have done it differently?
Sony? How would Sony done it differently? I think you can be against this deal, and you can talk about market concentration and talk about the history of the video game industry, and have a tale that you want to tell that isn't Call of Duty. This one title is the end all and be all of Sony PlayStation's success. I think that is massively disingenuous, and I think it does some of the harm that Travis was calling out, because you start calling out nobody can possibly match this game, and you mention all of the publishers. All of those are mentioned in these letters, and so I think it's very difficult just here, live, to say exactly how it would be done. This is the kind of thing, even in their own comments, that would have been vetted by lawyers and PR and the business executives for weeks. But I wouldn't have done it this way.
Fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Xbox Sony shill.
I know this guy.
Yeah.
God, always shilling for one
he
of
likes
them.
Both. He likes both.
He's always shilling for one of them.
It's like that far right Antifa member.
You joke, but like my comments are like, "Did you get Phil Spencer's what out of your what?" It's like,
yeah. Well, I mean, hey, it's a fair question. Answer.
I haven't seen you answer it. I mean,
yeah.
Geez.
What is he trying to hide by not answering?
So who's more impressive, Phil Spencer or Jim Ryan? No, never mind. We're moving on. Thank you for the update, always, Hoeg. To be honest with you, you're quite literally the only person I listen to on this, because way too many people are talking about it. And all I do is either watch your videos, or we talk here, or we talk in our DMs when I want to know something, but you're the only person I listen to, because otherwise it's just a lot of nonsense.
There's a lot of nonsense.
There is a lot of regarding this. So, yeah. We've got another super chat from Gecko. Gecko, you are out of control today,
throwing money at us. All right, Gecko.
Dan, I'll do a little dance for one more super chat.
What? I'm going to dance? Me?
Yep.
I'll take my shirt off.
There you go.
All right, I just want to say that the Warframe is now completely crossplay. Also, happy holidays for you all. Thank you, Gecko. Appreciate it. One more.
I respect Warframe more than I like it, but I'm glad you're having fun with it.
I did try it for the first time earlier this year. I was enjoying myself, but as usual, too many games, and I just stopped playing it.
Yeah, you can only have one forever game if you're going to play 2,000 hours of Halo or whatever.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So speaking of Halo, big update coming Tuesday, but we'll talk about that next week. Okay. Anyway, I think that is going to wrap us up for today, boys. We've got the Video Game Awards coming this week too. So we'll see what happens. Hoeg looks excited.
I think you mean
probably the
video
Xbox
game
shilling him
reward.
that he's annoyed at Keeley because Forza wasn't nominated. I'm sure that's what he's going to yell about.
Every year I think it
Forza's
can't be worse.
this year.
Every year I think it can't be worse. So
it wasn't even a Forza game this year, and you know that.
He wanted the Hot Wheels expansion to Forza Horizon 5.
Yeah,
nominated.
Oh wait, that was you. You're the shill. I forgot.
Well, I think that show is going to Ragnarok, and I hope it doesn't stray too far from any of your guys' expectations.
Nope.
I hope it lives forever in immortality.
I don't think you'll be hearing that word a lot that night.
It's up for
There's
best
only
direction.
one game should run rings around everything else, if we're honest. So
It's a bit of an Elden take, I would say.
Dan, anything for Oxenfree? No.
Okay. No. I'm playing Valhalla right now. Thanks, everybody. It's been a great show.
The truth is, finishing Ragnarok, I did say I should go back to Valhalla. I like that one.
They had their final update. That's it.
They did. They called it. They called it. It only 7,000 hours of content. I don't know what you're doing, Ubisoft.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, we've got the Game Awards, so we'll talk about that next week. We've got the Halo update, and it won't be next week, but after our show is when we'll probably be talking about Witcher. I also thought we'll talk about our Game of the Year list, obviously coming up over the holidays. I also want to have a show about the forgotten games of 2022. I was on a show yesterday where we went month by month of the biggest news and releases every month, and literally I had forgotten about like 75% of them. So there's a lot of games that came out this year that we don't, they just kind of disappeared. So we'll talk about those as well. But Hoeg, I literally lost my train of thought. I went to say Hoeg, close us out, but Hoeg, kick us off for the closings here, please. Where can people find you?
Sure. On my YouTube channel, youtube.com/HoegLaw, or on Twitter @HoegLaw, where I'll be celebrating the mighty Michigan Wolverines semifinal playoff game against TCU coming at you on New Year's Eve. It has been selected. Travis is dead, which is how we like him. And so you could check out all of my thoughts on those two platforms. We'll be doing virtual legalities. We got some Elon Musk Twitter stuff to talk about. We've got some Microsoft Activision stuff to talk about. We might even have some other topic to talk about. I don't remember what other topics are, honestly. So we'll see if we can do that. We have Hangouts and Headlines in the mornings, and that's about it. So thank you, Ains, for having me again. This is an awesome time. I'm going to go play Midnight Suns after this.
Nice. Travis.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter @TagGuyTravis if you care about Twitter. You can read all of my stuff on IGN.com or on IGN's YouTube. You can watch the video versions. And this week I've got Choo Choo Charles, survival horror game with a evil train.
See, I like the titling there because they didn't. The obvious is to go with Charlie. They went with Charlie.
Yeah, they went with Charles.
Yeah, they got to use his proper name. I mean,
his Christian name. You can read that. I've also got some exciting previews of upcoming games that I'm going to be doing. I'm flying to San Diego to cover one of those on a boat. I'm doing a preview on a boat.
You're flying on a boat?
No, I'm flying, and then I'm doing a preview on the boat. That's a boat-based event.
I got excited.
Which is interesting.
All right.
I've got some cool stuff coming up that I can't talk about yet, but I am still reviewing games, and look forward to finishing all the games I'm currently playing at some point.
I don't even pretend like that's going to happen for me. So
yeah, I know your Xenoblade 3 is still waiting for you.
Hey, you have 3 weeks left in your Xenoblade.
Was I supposed to beat it by the end of the year? That's not going to happen.
I think that was the original conversation we had on it. Yep.
I lose.
For us, like I said, we'll be talking Video Game Awards next week. You can see I did the video on the Dark Souls 3 statue that's up, and my the chaos that ensued with that. I also did a review on a little device. Actually, I have them right here, called the May Flash Pros, and this might actually apply to any of you guys too. This is a company that makes adapters for PC and Switch, where you can use any of your third-party controllers and or headsets on the Switch. So I was playing Mario the other day with my Series X controller. It was awesome. They're not super expensive. They work flawlessly. There's no lag. They're good stuff. So you can find the video. We've done 2 videos on their products. The latest one I just did last week, that's up on the channel as well. What else? I got a Switch controller I'm testing this week as well. And like I said, you can look for my formal thoughts on Callisto Protocol probably tomorrow or Tuesday. Actually, maybe it might be out as you're listening to this. So with that, we go ahead and wrap. Rob, I think you do this on purpose, my friend, but I appreciate it nonetheless. He's hitting us right at the end of the gate with a super chat.
Yes, Rob, thank you again at the very end. That rhymed. You aren't allowed to take holidays off in the future. I need someone to hang out with on Sundays. Happy holidays, all. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you, Rob. Yeah, I missed the conversation too. It's always fun. Every Sunday hanging out with everyone. Chat, you've been great today, and anyone who checks us out, thank you so much. Love doing this every week. So appreciate you guys.
Hey, real quick, nobody's answering little RJH00.
Oh, it's Texas Christian University.
Texas Christian University.
The Hypnotoad.
Yep. Taken down yesterday by right here.
You're a Kansas State fan. Nice.
Got the case.
Yeah, Texas Christian goes by Hypnotoad this year, but they are the Horned Frogs.
The Horned Frogs. These guys over here, no idea what's happening.
Nope.
Fantastic. Yep.
So it'll be Wolverine versus Hypnotoad.
Mm-hmm. Yep. On that note.
Okay. All right. I think that's going to go ahead and close us out for this week. Thank you as always for tuning in. It's great to be back, and we will obviously see you next week. And I'm sure we will have a lovely, lovely conversation on the Game Awards and how spectacular they were. But hopefully, all jokes aside, hopefully we get some reveals and some new things that we do get to discuss as we look to the future. So,
yes, Final Fantasy 16 is definitely going to announce its release.
It'll be there. Yep. Tekken 8's going to be there. What else?
Hellblade 2 for the 9th time.
Hopefully Hellblade 2. Come on, we'll see it. All right, we'll talk next week. Everyone have a good week. Thanks again. See you then. Peace.